Hi everyone, it's good to have you back again. The previous series we were able to render and then finalize the home screen dynamic section. And that's what you can see currently on your screen. You can see we have the header, we have the banner slider section, and this is beautiful. We have the first category section, which is the deal section. So we have our deals, we have up to 80 off. We have a banger deals and like that. After that, we have the flash sales section. And then the flash sales section, this is it rendering beautifully. And then it is horizontally scrollable, and this is beautiful, you can see. And then after that, we have the main category section, so which comprises of the phones and tablets, TV and audio, beauty, must have. So you can see this is beautiful. And then you have the top seller section. So this is the first product campaign section. So we have the top seller section, and then after that we have the sponsored product section. So these are product related sections. So after that we have the limited stock deals, and you can see how these things are rendering dynamically, and everything is coming from the back end. The back end is what defines all this. The only thing the front end is doing is just to listen to what the back end wants and render the instruction coming from right from the back end. So as a result of this, you don't need to redeploy your front end every time you make changes to your app. So we can make changes to this app right from the back end, and then you don't touch the front end. That's just it in the layman's view. And this is it. This is good, and you can see the way we are rendering this. This is grid, and you can see everything is dynamic. You see, this is grid, and then here we have horizontal, the sponsored product here. So after that, what we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to start with the dynamic with the category screen section. It's also a dynamic section. So what we do is, once a user press or select any of the category here, so what we want to do, we want to redirect that. We want to redirect our category screen using what, and display all the related section to that category that the user selected. So that's what we're doing in this tutorial. So I'm going to take, for example, I'm going to select the phones and tablets category. So if I press on the phones and tablets category, look at this, is beautiful, and you can see, so it's showing us all the available section for that selected category. And remember, everything, this is a full stack project, and it's coming from the back end. So everything you are seeing now, it's coming from the back end. So we have the limited stock deal section. So this is also a product campaign section, you can see. So it'll fetch all the products that are relating to what phones and tabs categories, and then it will follow the rules there and display those products. So this is beautiful, and you can see this is horizontally scrollable. So we have limited stock deals, and then we're going to see how everything works shortly. After that, we have what this shop by category section, and then you can see this is using a grid layout. This is beautiful, and everything is dynamic. So the first one is it's horizontal, and this is a grid layout, and this is beautiful. After that, we have the top phone deals. You can see how everything is mixed and they're rendering dynamically. So we have top phone deals, and then this is horizontal, and then this doesn't have see all, whereas this has see all. This is beautiful, isn't it? And then we have best offers. You can see we have Philly store, so Philly official store. So this will only display products that are from Philly official stores. So, and the product category is phones and tablets. So this is it. You can see this is beautiful, and it's only rendering or showing the Philly official store products that are under phones and tablet category. So we have the new arrivals, and this is another beautiful thing about this tutorial. So we are going to have a sticky header. So you can see we have Express, brand, and price. So if I keep scrolling up, see, this is beautiful. This is beautiful, and then we have that sticky header, just exactly the way they did it on Jumia. So this is beautiful. And then if we keep scrolling down, you are going to see what we call the paginated product list. So you'll see it. So if I scroll down, you can see. So let me go back so that I can show you everything clearly. So let's go back to phones and tablets. So if we come to phones and tablets, and I keep scrolling, scroll down, you can see there's that buffer there, that is, and then we are refreshing and fetching more product from the backend. When we get to the bottom of the list, it will fetch more product, you can see, and then this is the end. So that's the end. So that won't work again. So it's called paginated product. So I'm going to show you everything in this section. So that's what we're building here. So without wasting time, let's get started with that. So let's minimize this for now. we're going to bring it here. And the first thing we want to do is we want to get our category. So remember, this is coming from, we continue from our first tutorial. So if you've been following along from the first tutorial, you already have all this folder. Everything has been done and explained there. So we're just going to take it from there. So the next one we're going to do now is to start working on the categories section controller, and then we're going to do the model. So if I come here, we'll go to the model. Go into model. So our model, we have the category section schema. So this is our category section. This is the model. This is the schema for it. So we have declared an interface called category section, and it's extend document. So document is from Mongoose. So we don't have to write some of the general or basic properties. So it will be added directly through Mongoose. So we start from the category. So we're using the object ID. So we have the title, we have the type. So the type, our category can be of 3 major types. It's either product or brand or categories. So I'm just going to be showing you everything on the go. So if you come back to our app here, so you can see that limited stock deals bill is a type of products. Do you understand? So that's what's happening. Then we have the shop by category. Shop by category is a type of, belongs to subcategories. So that's the idea. And then we have the brand. So in this section there's no brand. But you can see all other ones like top phone deals, they are all product, belongs to they are of type of product. So it's type of product. So we have best offers, Philly official store. So this is not a brand. So but this is also a product section because it's displaying product that are relating to this brand. So this is also product section, but it's brand based. So that's the idea. So that's what we're doing here. So the next one we have the layout style. So the layout style, so majorly we're using the grid and the horizontal. In this tutorial, we're using the grid and the horizontal. So we have the title color. So the title color is what enables have the orange or yellow like color here. So you can render the colors dynamically. So we can have dynamic colors across all the sections. So after that we have alignment. So the alignment helps us in getting to align the title. So if you check, for example, shop by category, it's centered. So it is the alignment that helps us achieve that. Shop by category is centered, whereas you can see that top phone deals is left. So we're using that alignment. That's what the alignment is used for. So we have the see all. So we want to check if the see all is true or false. So for our limited stock deals, that means see all is equal to true. That's why we have see all there. And then when you come to shop by category, is false. So you will have see all. And then when you come to top phone deals, you can see the see all was false. So that's why you don't have see all. And then you can see best offers. So best offers, the see all is true. That's why you have see all. So that's the idea. Then we have the items per row. So items per row will respond majorly to our grid. So our grid layout, like the shop by category. So the shop by category section. So we need the item per row. So for here now it is 3. So that's why you have shop by category. So for shop by category section we'll have 3. So I don't mean we're using brands. So brand is not applicable under this category. So if not, we could define the number of items per row for them. So we are also using what we call template. So the template here is simply referring to all these sections. So why do we use template? Let me just quickly explain that too. So the template, you can see that in most of our categories, there are some sections that will be repeated. So it doesn't make sense for us to now repeat them per section. So what we'll do is, for example, limited stock. You are definitely going to find limited stock in almost all your categories, all the main categories. So anytime, because we are using phone and tablets now, so if we go back, so let's say we use TV and audio. So inside TV and audio or beauty must have, most of these categories will almost have limited stock. So it doesn't make sense. It won't make sense for us to be redefining limited stock across all the categories every time we need it. So it don't make sense. It becomes hard. It becomes more stressful to manage. If you want to update later from the backend, that means we have to. If you want to update the rule for the limited stock deals, that means we have to update it across all the categories that are using limited stock deals. So that doesn't make sense. So that's why we're using template. So for most of these sections that are repeated, so we use template to manage them, so that we just need to modify it from one place, and then you can apply it to all the limited stock deals everywhere it will be used. So you just need to update it from one place, from a single point. So that's the idea. So that's what the template is used for. And another example is the shop by category. So shop by category, like almost all the category section we have its subcategories. So like TV and audio, we also have its subcategories. So it doesn't make sense for us to now defining subcategories every time. So what we just use is we use the template and we create just one subcategory. So everywhere we need it across our categories, across our category section, we just use the template. I hope this makes sense, but you definitely understand shortly in practice. So, and then we're using the rule override. So if you've been following from the initial series, you already know. So rule override. So we have rule override. So we also have the is active. So is active is what helps us determine the sections to display. So any section that we don't want to display, we change the state from true to false. So it will not, and it will stop displaying it. So the only sections that you can see now, all the sections you can see now, is because they are what is active is set to what true. That's why you can see all these sections. So anyone we set to false, you no longer see it here anymore. And then we have the order. So the order is what we use to also determine how we render them, how they are layered. So it's the order that helps us to determine that. That's the reason we have what limited stock deals first, followed by shop by category, and then top phone deals. So it's because of the order. So it's the order that helps us determine how we layer these sections. So this is it. So the next thing we want to do is we now have what we create. We use our category section schema. We declare it, and then we can create our schema here. So title types, so it's an enum. So we're using enum of product, brand, subcategories, and then we have the layout style. So the layout style, this is the layout style, it's also an enum. So let me bring it down so you can see it. So we're setting the default to grid. So this is the layout style, and we're setting the default to grid. But when another layout is provided, it will override the default style. So that's the idea. Then we have the title color, so it's string. We have the alignment. So alignment is also a type of enum. And then we have the default. We declare default. Default will be left. So anytime the backend provides another alignment, it will override the default and use the current one provided from our backend. So, and that's it. We're good to go. We have the show see all. So it's a boolean, and then the default is false. We have item per row, so the default is 4, and then we have the template. So we are going to make reference to what section template, which I will show you very shortly. Then we have the rule override, and then it's active and order. And then we have the timestamp. We set it to true, so it will give us what the current time and date when we create this. So after that, we have what we will now create a sport category section, so we can use it in our category controller. So this is it. We're good to go here. So the next point is what we'll hit the category controller. So inside our category, this is the category controller. So we'll be using the bulk create to create all the data and save it in the backend at once. So that's the essence of what the bulk create. So I have the single create. So the single create is here, but we won't be using the single create. We're going to be using the bulk create. So I just keep it here for reference. So this, with the single create, you can only create one. You can only send one category section data per time. But we're going to use the bulk create, so we can send all our category data to the backend at once. So this is faster. So this is the bulk create. So with the bulk create now, I just go, you can check my description box for all the data and all the required assets. Everything is there. So just check it. It has been made available, so you can just do the same thing. So with the bulk create, all I just need to do is come here. You can see it's right here already. So I come to my section. So this is my bulk create. I'm using raw at this point. So I'm using raw. Select raw and make sure you come here and select JSON. So it's a JSON data. So we're passing everything as JSON data, and we're passing all the data at once. So you can see everything at once. So once you paste it here, what you just need to do is hit press on send. So this thing has been created before. Press on send, and then it will create all this data at once in your MongoDB at once. So if I show you my MongoDB quickly, so we can go to so you can see everything everything will be what created in the MongoDB backend at once. You can see all the data. So we have like 18. So it's time consuming to create like 18 sections at once, and one after the other. But with the bulk create, you just add all the data, all the JSON data into your raw interface, and then it will create everything at once. So all the JSON data has been added in the description box below, so you can just try it out. Believe me, trust me when I tell you this, everything is working perfectly fine. All you just need to do is copy and then paste and then hit send, and follow the process, follow the protocol carefully as I'm showing you. Just follow it, and then everything will work seamlessly without error, so that will not waste time. So that's what's happening here. So you can see the bulk create. So this is the bulk create or upstart. So if it gets to anyone, and then another beauty of this is by the time you get to when it's creating the bulk create, it will look through all the data. If there's anyone existing already in the MongoDB backend, but we made adjustment, maybe one or two, we updated some of the information, it will go to those ones. It will not recreate them. Rather, it will update them. So that's the beauty of this. So it will update them instead of recreating. It will update them, and everything will come out pure. And those ones that are not existing already in your database will be created freshly. But for those that are existing but they are updated to it will update them accordingly, and it will not create a duplicate. If anyone is existing and you are still sending it again, and there's nothing has changed, it's the same data, it will not duplicate. It will not duplicate it. It will just ignore it and move on. So that's the idea. It's a very good approach. So if you come here, so we're saying, so we're passing the parameters, so the request and then the response. So we're saying we're not expecting any response. We're not sending any data back. So we're using it to create. We're creating the data and sending it to our backend database. So we said section is equal to what? Category section. So remember, we have our category section, and it will be an array. So we have our category section here. So we created the interface here. So it will be an array. So that's what we're calling. So and it's an array, so it's from body, required from body, and the body now is coming from our postman here. So like I showed you before, so it's this body, you can see it is body here, and then we're using raw. We're using the raw, we selected raw, and this is the body. So this is the request that is coming that we want to process through our controller. So it's going to get a request from request.body, and then we're saying if it's not array. So if this section is not array, or section equal to .length equal to 0, that means you didn't pass anything. So it will say request body must not be an empty, it must be a non-empty array. So it will not send an empty data. So it will check it. If it doesn't exist, it will throw this error. Else we will now use what our bulk create. So we have the bulk up. So this is where we create it. So the first thing is we want to update. So what's going on here is so we're using the update one, and then we're using the filter. So this filter will help us look through our documents, all the documents inside our MongoDB data, and look for a match. So it will compare it and compare with the request the user is sending. So it will compare all the requests the user is sending with what the existing data in our MongoDB database. So it will compare it using what category. So it will look for the category and then compare it with the one the user is sending. So it will compare the category and the title, and then it will come to update. So it will only update. So we are saying set on insert. So we're set on insert. So if it finds a match here, it will update. So that's what's saying, this set on insert. It will update if there are new fields. If there are new fields to the category property, to those category property. In essence, what we're saying, if it comes here to our database, like for example, this is our database, so it will compare the category and the title. So once it finds it will now look through if there are new fields added to the properties here. So it will update. So it will only, let's say for example, there's a match. When it searched through, when it compared them through the filter, there's a match. It found match for category and then title, but there are new fields added to the properties here, the alignment created. So if there are new field, instead of it to ignore, it will update that document and add the new field. At the same time, if the value, if it changes here, if it was updated, it will update it. It won't ignore. So that's what it's just saying in essence. So after that, we come here. So that's what the update here. So it will update that. So we're now using insert and upsert. So we said upsert equal to true. So what the upsert will do is, let me just show you here. So what the upsert will do, so upsert equal to true, it will insert if no match was found. So if no match was found, it will insert. That means we are sending new document to the database. We are sending new data. So where there's no match, it will insert them. It will insert them, and then where there's match, it will skip them. So that's the idea. So three things are actually going on. So it will filter it. filter it, so for a document with what, with matching category and title. If it finds it before it starts, if it finds the match, it will perform what, the update. So the update is set on insert, so it will only set the field if a new document is inserted. So that's the idea. That's what I'm saying. So it will update it, and then if there's none, after that it will go to what, upsert. So if upsert equal to true, it means insert. So that means insert if no match was found. That means that document is a new document. It will insert it newly. So, or if there's a match, so if there's a match, everything is the same. So it will skip it. So it will not duplicate it. So it will skip it if there's a match. But here, update here, it will check if there are new fields added. So that means we are updating that particular document. So instead of it to skip that document, it will update it. So that's the idea. And if there's no match, that means it's a new document. So it will insert it afresh. So that's what just happening there. So if we come back to our category controller, so we update and then upsert is true, and that's all. And it will save you a lot of time. It's faster. So from there we come here and say results await category section dot bulk write. So we're using this forward to add everything at once. So we're using bulk write. So do not forget that, it's very important. So we're using bulk write, and after that we want to get our status, response to status, the response to status. So we're saying message. So if everything worked out, so we have create section. We will say category section created or updated successfully. So that's if everything worked out fine, and then it will give us what, the summary. So we have the summary. So we have the inserted. We will display the number of newly inserted documents. So result.upserted count. Then we have the matched. We'll get the number, the length, the result. So result.match count. Then modified, that means the ones that we updated will get what, the count for that. So that's it. So by the time you try it, you'll see everything. So after that, if it doesn't work, we'll catch error, and then it will display what, the error message. So I think we're good to go here. So after that, we'll come to our, so for this, we'll go to our, and do not forget we are using our index, so that you don't mix everything out. So after that, you come to the index in the category, for the controller, and you make sure you are exporting everything from what, category section. Where is it? So we have our category section here. So it's very important, do not forget this. So we would export all from what, category section controller, and do not forget that is from our index. The index is right inside what, our controllers. So after that, we can now go to our root. So to go to our root, we go to our category section root. So our category section root, this is our category section root. So the category section root, so we are going to import. So we're going to import everything. So we're importing bulk create or upsert category section. So just the same way we have it here. We call it what, bulk create or upsert category sections. So we have it here, and then we'll use the index in our root too. So let me bring it up. So please do not forget we are using two index so far. There's one index in our controller, and then there's another index in our root. So we'll come here, we'll come to our section. If we come to our section here, so we are importing them. So we're saying router. So we're getting it from express.router. So everything is coming from what, Express. So we're saying Express from Express. We import Express from Express, and then we're saying, so it's a post request. So we're sending data toward the database. So it's a post request. So we're saying router.post, and then we're sending what, the bulk create upsert category section. So it's very important. And after that, we'll come to our index, our root index. So that for clarity's sake, so this is the index we're using. We are at the root level. We have the index at the controller level, and we have the index at the root level. So inside here too, we'll come here, and then we export all from our category section root. The previous one was export all from our category section controller. So we're exporting everything here from our what, category section root. So what we are doing now is we export everything. We export all our router as what, category section root. So that's what we're doing. So we have the one we're currently working with is the router.post. So for the bulk create or upsert category section, so we export everything as what, we call everything what, we cast everything as what, category section root. So we'll now come into our, we come into our index, and then export everything as well. We'll call it category section root. So category section root, so we can now import it in our Express. So we are importing the root. So this means it's coming from what, our index. So we can export everything. So from our index, so it's coming from our root index. So we can import everything inside our Express. So we're coming to our Express. So we have been using this Express. So we'll come inside our Express down here, and this is where we're importing everything. So we're saying app.use, we have our category section. So this is our category section, and then we're importing what the category section root, and that's all that will do. So if we come back to our back end, let's go to our postman rather. So if we go to our postman, since the data is already existing in the back end, and then I'm going to send it again, so you can see that everything is working perfectly. So all the data here are already existing in the database. So if I add it, we have 18. Let me show you. We have 18 in total. So if I send it, it shouldn't add a new data. It shouldn't add a new one. So we shouldn't have more than 18 if it works well. So that's what I'm just going to do now. So if we come here, for example, so I'm going to press send. If I press send, let's see what happens. So we have a message category section created or updated successfully. So we have a summary. The summary is inserted. You see it inserted none because we didn't add a new document. So that's why inserted is equal to 0. Then matched 11 and then modified 11. I'm pretty sure it modified the date. So that was what happened because we're using the timestamp true. So we go to our MongoDB and then let's refresh it. We'll discover that it's still 18 document. So I'm going to refresh this. So let's refresh it here. So you see we still have 18 document. So this is the collection, and then so we have shop by alignment is center, is active is true, items per row is 3. So let me just show you practically. So if you come back to the first one here, so we have limited stock deals. So limited stock deals, let me enlarge this as well so you can see everything clearly. So limited stock deals is the first here. So that's what we're seeing it here. So limited stock deals, we have alignment is left, so you can see we have limited stock deals. So alignment is what is left, and then is active true, and then item per row, we said what items per row is we make it equal to 4, but it's actually not significant here because it's an horizontally scrollable. So this is not significant. So we have layout style is horizontal, so that's why we're having this horizontal layout. Then we have other one, that's why it's appearing as the first here. So it's appearing as the first on the layer on the sections, and then we have show see all, so it's true. That's why you can see all here. So we have a template, so he's using the template. I'll explain the template very shortly so you understand how they work together. Then we have what the title color, so we can render a dynamic color for each of the section title. So that's the thing. So this is the color, this is the color it's using there, and that's all. So if we come to shop by category, so you have shop by category. So the title is shop by category, and then you see it's active is equal to true. Its item per row is what 3. So because we're using grid layout here, and you can see it has what 3 per row. So this items per row is more applicable to a grid layout. So that's why it's not applicable to that limited stock deals because it's horizontal. So we have the order is what 2. That's why it's coming as the second on the list. Then we have what show all. You see it's false. That's why you can't find what see all here. So we have the title color, and that's it. So the alignment here too. So you can see the alignment here is what center. That's why you can see shop by category at the center, and here it is left. You can see. So the next one is top phone deals. So if I scroll up, you see top phone deals, and you can see that this top phone deals has no what see all. Show see all is false, and that's why it's not showing. And then the alignment is what still left. This is beautiful, isn't it? So it's active is what is true, and then we have its order. It's the third on the list. So that's the idea, and then it keeps going like that. So that's what we're necessarily doing here. So without wasting time, I'll just take you to. Let's continue. So that's what's happening. So if we go back to, let's go back to our code. Bring this down. So the next thing we want to talk about is the template, is the section template. So we'll come to our category section, our category controllers, the schema. So let's go to the schema. Inside the schema here we'll have the template, section template. So if you bring up the section template, so in summary, the reason why we're using section template is because most of our category sections we have the general sections, and then we have the specific section. So the general section means these sections that are usually repeated in all the categories. Like for example, we have almost all the categories will have what limited stock deals. Almost all the categories will have what shop by category, and so on. So instead of repeating this across each category, we now create what a section template, so that we will just define it and then we can manage across all categories. So most of these sections, we'll just use the section template to define them, and then we can apply it to all the categories where it is needed. So we don't keep redefining them every time. So the advantage of this is also it helps us to manage the whole thing from one point. So in summary, what we're saying that you need a reusable layout sections for most of these category sections, so that you don't have to repeat unnecessarily, and you can manage the section when you want to make changes to the section. You can just change from one point, and then it will be applicable to all the category section using it. So I'll quickly come here and show you everything up. So we had this is the section template, this is the schema, this is the model. So it has the name, it has the type. So here we are using just 3 types. You can extend it based on your requirement. So we have the type, we have brands, we have subcategories, and then we have product. These are the types that we're using here. So it's an enum, and then we have rule. So remember our section rule, so we'll be applying the rule here. So for example, the limited deals has to do with what deals campaign. So it's a type of product. So limited stock deal, so we just come and apply the rule here. So that's the idea. So if we come to our section template schema, if you see we have the name, type, and then the type here. So we have the type here, so we can now use enum. So enum is brand, subcategories, and then product, and then required is true. Then we have the rule. The rule is equal to our section rule schema that we used during our home screen. So we have timestamp equal to true, and that's all. So we now want to create the section template. So that's what we're doing, and we call the name section template, and that's it. So if I come now, we can come to the controller. So inside the controller, we have section template controller. So we have section template controller, so we can create and save our sections in the back end. So if I come here, so I've pre-written this section, which I have also made available in the description box, so you can check it there. So to create a template, this is what we're going to use. Just the normal way we'll create our template. So to create the template, I created this. So to create a template, a single template, this is what you're just going to use. So we're going to call the section template from our model, and then we say .create, and then we add the request. So request.body, and then it will create it. So that's it. To create it and save it inside our section template in our MongoDB database. So what I used here, I used this. So I created the seed data, and then we just added it into the back end directly from here. So we have the seed or create section template. So we'll come here, and then I've created everything in the default template. So you can use this, or you use the bulk create that we used earlier. So the first one is limited stock deals, and then the type is a type of product, because we're using it inside the product. So here we have the rule. We are passing a rule into it, and then we say minimum stock. So you see, this is the usual rule, just the same way we deal with our deals. So minimum stock is 1, maximum stock is 10. So that's limited stock. So we are targeting those stocks whose quantity is limited, so we're about to finish. So we have max stock is 10, and then minimum discount, so it is 10, and then maximum discount is 70. So sort by trending, and then limited to 12. So just the same way we applied our rules. So that's how it's going to filter it. So we can use this limited stock across all our category sections where we need limited stock deals. So we don't have to recreate this again. This one will do. So if you make changes to our rule, it will be applicable to all from one single point. So that's the idea. But if we had to create this limited stock for each category one after the other, that means we will now have to be going to them one after the other to make these corrections or updates, which won't make sense, and it's time wasting and can also lead to bugs. So we're casting into the section template that we created in our model, in our section template schema. So we created the object. So this is one. This is the first one. This is the first one that's limited stock deals. So it's an array of object. So it's an array. So default template is an array of what? Of objects. So this is the first one, limited stock deals, and then the second one, top seller. So top seller is also, it's also general. It's a repeated layout. So it's something that that could be used in almost all the categories, if not all. So there's no point in creating it, so we can just create a template and then we can use it. So here, top seller. So we have role is best selling. You can see the sort is sorted by what? Best selling, and then limit to what? 10. So we cast that to the third one is top deals. So top deals is also a type of product, and then the rule we have the discount. So top deals, the minimum discount will be 40. So and minimum stock must be 1. So we are making sure that the product is in stock. That's why we added that minimum stock equal to 1. Then we are sorting it by best selling as well, and we are limiting it to what? To 8. So the next one is best offer. Best offer type of product, and you can see. So minimum discount is what? 20. Here we're using sort by price. So we want to show the ones that are cheaper first. So price low, that's why we're using the word price low. So we have limit to 12. We have the official store. So most of the brands, so we can just create a template for it. We don't need to start creating these brands for every category. No, so all we just need to do is what? Create a template, a brand template, and then with the type of brand, so it can be reused. We can reuse this layout every time we need it without needing to create any one. So that's the idea. And then the same thing goes for the shop by category. So we created a type of shop categories. So the next one is must have deals. So must have deals, the type of product. So because all the types of product are just product campaigns. So we're using it to promote the product. So it's the type of product. So the rule here is we're targeting what? Trending and popularity, and then we limit to what? 10. Then we have the new arrivals. So you can see there will always be new arrivals, especially for products that are just newly they were just newly added. So we created the template. So most of the categories will have what? New arrivals. So there's no point adding new arrivals in multiple places. So that's the reason why we created a template that will address what? New arrival across all the categories. So we have the type product, and the rule is sorted by what? New arrivals, and limited to what? 12. So that's the idea. So we can now come here and say const template. So if it is array, if the request we are sending is an array, like here, so that'll be the request, and then the request of body.length is greater than what is 0. That means it's not empty. So what we'll do, so if that is true, we're passing what? Require.body, and then we are casting it to what? The section template, and it's an array. Else you will use what? The default template. So that's what we're doing. So what we're necessarily doing here is we're using a two-way method. So this request.body, so we're saying if, like for example, if you use Postman now, if you use Postman and added all these section templates, so if you add them to your Postman, that's what we're saying. So instead of using the default template directly here, so let's say you copy everything here and bring it to your Postman, just like we did. This is request.body for our category section. So just like we did here, if you bring everything here, here's our section template. So this is our template. So if you can bring everything here, add everything here, and then send. So this will be request.body. So you're sending it from Postman. So you can send it through Postman, or we use this default template. So if that is not the case, so we're creating the two scenarios. That's what it means here. So if there's request.body, that means we are sending this document from what? The Postman, just like I showed you just now. And if that is not greater than 1, if it's not greater than 0, that means we are not using that method. Then we're asking it to use what? Default template, which is this, our default template here that I just showed you earlier. So it will use this default template if the other part is not what? Available. If we are not sending from Postman, so it will just use what? The default template. So we can now use what? Our bulk right. So we'll now come to our template, and then here, so we are using the map function to map through the word template and use our what? Update one. So just like we did, so we use the same method. So that's the thing. You still remember we used it inside our category section controller. So that's the same method to bulk write this thing at once, all our templates at once. So we can write everything and we'll save them at once. So we'll now come here and say our section template or what? Bulk write. And then we'll pass our bulk what? Operations to it. Simple and straightforward. So we have we get our response just the same way we did earlier during when we're adding our what? Category, our category section. So, and if there's an error, we'll throw an error, catch the error, and send it back. So that's the idea. And then the whole thing continues. So we'll go to our root, our index, and export all from what? So we export all from our section template controller. So this is it, and then we'll go to our and then we'll come to our section template root. So section template root, and then the index. So we have just the same thing we did earlier on. So we import everything. So import. So we are using post method to send it. So we are calling on the seed or create section template. So from our controller. So this is where we imported it, and then we're passing it to it. And then if we come to, we use our index root, and then we're saying instead of our index root, we will export everything as what category, as section template root. So this is it, a section template root. So we're exporting everything from our what? From our section template root. So this is it. And remember, export router as what? Template root. So that's what we are doing here. So we have it in there, and then we're gonna come to our Express, and inside our Express we have what? Our template. So we imported what? Template root. So if you see, so if you come here, you come to the template. Remember, we're using template here, so it corresponds. So if you see, so we see template, and inside our section template we didn't pass anything here, so that's why we didn't pass it as well. So we're using the template. So if you press send, it will check if you are sending the request. If there's a request here, if this place is not empty, it will what? It will use it. But if it is empty, it will go and use what? The default template that we declared inside what? Our controller. So that's the idea here. So once the template is created, we now use it inside our what? Inside our category section where we need to use it. So if we come to our category schema, so you'll see that we have the template. So we're just making reference to the ID, to the template ID where it's necessary. So if we go back to, okay, let's go to our MongoDB. So inside the MongoDB we have the category. So for the limited stock deals now, so we created the title limited stock deals, and then we can see we are making reference to the template. So this is the template here. So we're referencing. So if I go to section template here, so we're making reference to limited stock deal. So we reference what? The template ID. Where is it? So this is it. So it has template ID. So if we come here, you can see that it's the same. It's the same ID. So it's 68FE and 7D ended it. So if we come here, you have what? 68FE, and then we have 7D at the end. So you see, that's how we reference it. So that's how we reference it. So limited stock deals. Anyway, we want to use limited stock deals, we just we reference what? The template. That's it. So we don't have to redeclare it. And you can see, then if we come to our shop by category, so we reference what? The shop by category template. So the template here is so this is 68FE and then 82 ended it. So if we come to shop by category template, so you can see 68FE 82. So that's it. So and that's how, so we can reuse the layout without having to declare it for every category. So we just reference what? The template. So that's what we're doing. So we're good to go. We'll come back to our Postman just to show you the template and non-template, how we did it. So let's look for, so we're inside phone and tablet category. So let's look for phone and tablet category. So you see, when we come to our Postman, okay, let's go to the database. So inside the database you have what? The category section. So these are category sections. So you see that here this category section is referencing, it has a category. So each section has what? The category it belongs to. So this category now is talking about this category. So if we come to that category, let's see the category with this ID. So 68 CF and A8. So if we come to this, that's our phones and then tablet. So if you come to it, you see we have 68 CF and so you discover that you have a 68 CF and then A3. So that means for this category now is referencing what? Our it's referencing our phones and tablets, so that's what it's referencing. So we have the category, and then we have the template. So because it's the title here, we're using shop by category, so we already have a template for that, so we're referencing what the template, and then that's it. So we're referencing it. So this is it, this is template, and you can see the ID corresponds. So that's what we're doing. So if we go to the second one here, we have what top phone deals. So you can see this is not a template. This is not a template category. So that's the idea, because this is specific to what, to this category. So it's specific to what, phone and tablet category. So you don't have it across all other categories. Do you understand? So that's the idea. So here now, this is a non-template category section. So what we do here, we don't apply template here. So if you see what we did here, so it still reference what the category, that is the phones and tablet category, and phone deal is specific to phone and tablet category. So here you won't find what template. So template is not here. So instead of using template, so we now come here and use what rule override. So we are providing the rule for this because it is a non-template section. So it's specific to only phone and tablet categories. So we provide what the rule. So we provide the rule here. We have the alignment. We have the order is order 3, so it's after, let me like this. So it's after shop by category, so you have top phone deals, so that's why we have it here. And the rule here, minimum stock, we want to ensure that the product is in stock. Then we have the promo flag. Don't think it's empty, so I think we used the sort. So we use tags, so it has to be what, smartphones. So because inside our phone and tablet category, we have other subcategories in it. So we have like, for example, if you come to the category here, we have tablet, so, and then we have airboards, you can see. So all these are not what phone deals, so hence we have to use what the tag. So this is how they just do it inside our rule. So it will only target those products that are what under the tablet and the phone and tablet category, but also they belong to what, the phone category, not tablet and not earbud. So it won't select accessories, it won't select tablet, it only selects smartphones. So that's why we have what tags. So for each of for our product, there are product that has their tag as what, smartphones. So we'll come to our product here. For example, you see we have a Redmi A3. So if you check Redmi A3 has what, smartphones. And if you scroll, because it's not appearing first here based on other criteria like the best selling, yeah, so the best selling. So but it's part of it. Let's check for Redmi A3. So you can see we have Redmi A3, so it's here. You can see everything corresponds. So the price is 148,100. So that's the thing. If we come here again, we have Galaxy A15. I think I saw Galaxy A15. Yeah, so this is. So let's look for Galaxy A15 rather. So yeah, this is Galaxy A15. So you can see the price is 138,500. So that's how it goes. But you see that everything you find here are just what, smartphones. So you won't find anything that is not smartphone. So there are other products here, but the only thing that is being displayed is what, the smartphone, because we have a power bank, but you can't see it here. So that's the power of this. So if we come back to our category section, this is for top phone deals. So this is specific, it's a non-template section. So it's specific to what, phones and tablet, and at the same time specific to what, only smartphones. So we're dealing with only phones here at this section. So if we come here, we have what, top seller, but top seller is false. So but it's also what is a template layout section. So we have but we're not using it, so it's false. So that's why you can see it's not displaying here. It's not, you have been the next on the list, but we're not using it. So that just to show you how dynamic this is. So because if you check, it's order 4, but it's not showing. Why? Because it's active is what, false. So the next one that we did was what, best offers. So if you see best offers, so you can see here now the best offer is also using what, the template. So we're using template best offers. So we added what, the ID is here, and then inside so it's also referencing the what, phones and tablet category. So this is the ID for that. So and then we have the layout is horizontal, order is 5, so you can see it says 4 has been skipped because it is false. So here if we go to this template, so the template we are using here is 68FE80. So let's look for that from our template and see what that is saying. So this is a new best offers, so you can see 68FE and then 80, and then it has its rules because it's a template, so it has its own rules. But if it's not a template, we will now use what rule override. We are taking it from the concept best offers, so that's what determines the rule. So and the rule is general. So when you are referencing best offers, if you are referencing best offer in another category, it will be based on this rule. This is the logic. There's a logic for best offers, so it doesn't matter where you the category where you are using it. The most important thing is the logic behind it. So best offer will always be best offers, so either not minding whether you are using it inside the phone category, or you are using it inside the home appliances category, or you are using it in any other category, best offers will always be best offers. So the logic, we are providing the logic for best offers, so it can always apply it. So we have the rule here for best offers, the logic. So we're saying minimum discount. So minimum discount will be what? 20. And then the promo flag, did we provide anything? No. So we have the tag, nothing. So we are just using minimum discount. So we're saying best offer. So best offer. So for you to be best offer, that means they have what? They have a high discount rate. So we're looking for the product that have what? Not that is that we're looking for product whose discount is not less than 20. So it can be from 20 to 70 to 80 to 90. So from 20 and above, anything that is less than, any product with discount less than 20 will not be accepted, will be ruled out. Will be ruled out. So that's what we're saying. And then for these best offers now, we reference what? So we can use this best offer in any category. So when it gets to the category, we use it to reference the category and get the best offers for that category. And that's what we did here for the best offer. So for the best offer here, so when we get to best offers here, we're using what? The template. So it will use the template and then it will reference what? The category, this particular category. So it will get the best offers for this particular category. So that's what's happening there. So and we're using what? We're taking it from price low. So and then we limited it to what? 12 as well. So our minimum stock 2 must be 1. We want to ensure that the product is in stock. So and then the type is what? Product. So if we come here, so it will get the best offers based on that rule logic for what? This category, which is what? Phones and what? Tablet category. That's why we are specifying the category here. So if we get to another category, this category ID will change to that category and it will get the best offer based on the selected category. So that's the idea. And then every other thing remains the same as we have mentioned. So and then you can see best offers, we have show see all equal to true. We have the layout is horizontal as well. So and that's how it goes. So here you can see we have Philly official store. So Philly official store is it's not a brand based, but it is a brand based on what? It based on the product of that brand. So it is not a type of, this is not a type of brand, but a type of what? Product. It's just that it is referencing the product that belongs to a particular brand called what? Philly. So we are referencing Philly official store. So if you come here, you can see Philly official store. So it's going to display all the products that are from what? Philly store, and it's based on what? The selected category. So that's the idea. So if we come here, so we're using, so here we don't need template. This is what? A non-template. This is specific to what? To this category. Philly official store is specific to the phone and tablet category. So we don't need template there. We don't need template. So that's why here there's no template. So we are using that. We are going to use what? Rule override. So you see, so minimum stock is what? 1, and then we are referencing what? The brand of Philly store. So the brand ID of Philly store. So I'm going to be showing you the brand schema, and then the brand collection, how we created it. So you will see it very shortly. So we're referencing the brand. So we want to make sure that the minimum stock is not less than 1, and then so we have the tag. So for those brands, for those products that belongs to Philly official store, they have that tag Philly. So we're checking for either the brand, or you can check it from the brand directly, and then you can also apply what? The tag Philly, and then we're sorting it. We're sorting it best using best selling. So best selling, remember, best selling are the product that has a higher sales count. So it will take it from the product that has higher sales count. So like that downward. So that's what, and then we limited it to what? 8. So that's the idea here. So it's not, we don't need template. So I believe this is simple enough. So you just get your hand over it, try everything out, and you see that everything is working. Believe me, I don't have to start coding everything again. Everything has been tested, everything is working, and you can see this is the test version. So there's no bug. Just follow through the code one after the other, and then you get the same exact result. So what we're going to do next now is to we're going to go, let's go back to our VS Code. So inside our VS Code, we can do the get category section. So we want to fetch sections by what? By category. So in this category fetch section, we're going to handle both the template and the non-template sections. So we'll come here to fetch. So to fetch the categories, we're using constant get category sections, and then we're using async and then request response. So the first thing is we want to get the category ID. That's the category ID. That is the selected category. So we're going to get the ID through what the request.params. So the selected category that, from the user, from the front end, will be received in the back end. So that's what we use. So that's why we are storing it here, the request. So for example from our code, so if I press on phones and tablets, so the ID of that category, phones and tablets, will be sent to the back end. So we'll receive it here. We'll receive it and store it here. So the structure and get the category ID. So from the category ID, we can come here because we'll be doing paginated sections. So we'll come back to this. So we'll leave it for now. So we'll come back to it later. So after that, we want to check if the category ID that was passed is valid. You want to see if it's empty or invalid. It will throw an error, missing category ID parameter. So you want to check first that okay, there is a value from here. So if there's a value, if there's no value, we'll throw an error. Else, if there's value, so we do console. So I use console.log in most of these things, so that because it's lengthy, so that you can see the progress. And so I'm just going to bring up my console. So we have the first console.log here. That's fetching category sections for. So you see immediately we go there. So we displayed it. So and that's it. This is the category ID. So that's the category ID. So from there, the next thing we want to do is we want to fetch all active sections. So all the active sections. How do we know the active sections? We'll go into the category section collection. Inside the category section collection, we want to check for the category. For this, we want to check for the category the category that matched this category ID. So we want to check it. So that's the first criteria. The second one, we want to also check if its active is equal to true. So if we go back to our section, this category section. So that's category section that we are looking for. This is the collection. So if we come there, we want to check. You can see there's a property called what category. So we want to check if that category, if the value of that category is equal to what the selected category here. So you can see the value of this category. So limited stock deals is equal to what the value of what the category selected. So that's how we get it. So that's the first condition, and then the second condition is we want to check if its active is true. So you can see the active property, and then this one is set to true. So once we find that, we'll select that because it passed what the conditions. So the next thing is we want to sort it by what we sort in order, in ascending order. So that's what it means. So sort in ascending order. That's from the first downward. So and if you check, so if you come here, you see the order. So that's the order property, and then we check. So 1 over there is what is in ascending order. So this is the first on the list. So this is 1. And then if we come here, shop by category. Shop by category is also having a category property that matched the selected category. You can see this is the same, and then active is what true, and then the order is number 2. And if you see it on the list, it's also number 2 on our screen on the phone simulator. So you can see limited stock deals, and then we have shop by category. So that's what determines how it renders. Then after that we have top phone deals. Top phone deals has a category property of equal to what the selected category, and then we have this active is equal to true, and then order is 3, and that's why you're seeing it as the third on the list. And then the next one here that we have is top seller. You can see top seller has a category property equal to what the selected category, but its active is false, and that's why you're not seeing it here. So it's not showing. So you can see top seller, and then it's order 4. So normally it would have been the next, but because active is false, so that's why it's not there. And then you can see best offer follows after that, has it, and then active is true, and order 5. So that's the idea. We use console.log found sections.length 6 section. So you can see found 6 sections from our console. So we want to fetch, the next thing we're going to do, we want to fetch templates. We want to fetch only sections that have what template reference. So that's the next thing we're going to do. So if we go to our category section, again, if you come to our category sections, so you'll find, for example, the limited stock has what? Template reference. So this is what we're looking for. We're looking for out of the selected. So out of the 6 selected sections, sections here, we want to check. We want to retrieve those ones that has a template reference. So we're mapping through this section. So it's going to map through the 6 sections that were returned, that were found here. It will map through it and look for those ones that has the word template reference. So that's why we're saying for each section, we're targeting the word section.template. So, and then we are performing the filter. So it will return those ones that has it will return those ones and store them inside template IDs. It will those ones that has what? The template reference. And this boolean here is just a shorthand to say, to check and ensure that the ID is not equal to null or undefined. So that's the idea. That's just what we're doing here. So we are returning the IDs of the sections that has what? The template reference. That's what we're just doing. So here we're now saying console.log fetching template. So we're getting the length. So that's why we're saying fetching 4 templates. So we have 4 templates. After that, so the next thing we want to do is, after fetching those IDs, those template IDs, we'll come into our section template. So we use our we go into our section template collection and find those IDs, the ID that match the template IDs, so we can return those templates. So without wasting time, let me just go to our template, our section template. So for each of the IDs, we want to find those IDs that match the template IDs. So for here now, you can see we have a best offers. Let me go to the first one. So you can see we have limited stock deals. So limited stock deals has what this is the ID for limited stock deals. So we're looking for, this is a section template collection. So from the template IDs that we retrieved from our category section, we will now come here and match it with the ID of this template. We'll find the ones that match, those ones that match the IDs that we retrieved. So if we come here, let's say for example, we have limited stock deals here. This is the ID. If we go to our section, our category section again, let's go to the first one, that's limited stock. If you go to the template, you can see that it has the same ID. So we have 5D, 57D, and if we come to limited stock, you can see it's the same ID, 5D, 57D. So that's what we are just doing there. So what we are doing is, so once we compare them and then we find the match, all the ones that match our template ID here. So these are our template IDs. So remember, we have 4 template IDs. So we'll come to our section template collection. So for the section template, we are looking into all the IDs. We're checking the IDs of the section template collections, and we're matching it with our template IDs. So our template IDs that we store here. So we're looking for the match. So when we find the match, we will come here and use our template map. So this template map will help us to create a key value pair. So that's what we do, is an array of objects. So once we find the match, for example, if we come here to our section template and then this limited stock deals match this limited stock deal, you can see the ID of this limited stock deal is matching or matched our limited stock deals here. You can see the ID, the template is the same. So once we find this is the match, so this match our limited stock deal. So what we're going to do now, we're going to return this object. So we are going to retrieve this whole object, and that's what we are doing here. So it will now be an array. So for the second one, it will fetch it and then get the object. So it's now be an array of objects. So it's a key value pair. So the key will be the template reference, the template ID, and then it will now return the value. So the value will now be this object. So without wasting time on this, so I'm just going to show you what's going on. So if you come here, so it's a key value pair. The key will be the template ID and the value will be the object. The value will now be the object of what this section template. So this object will be the value. So it will return the object itself. So if we copy this, this will be the value. The value will be the object here. So what I'm saying in essence, this is what it will look like. So the template ID, so will look like this. So we'll have the key. The key will be the ID, and then the value will now be the object itself. So this is for limited stock deals now. So we have 4 sections. We return 4 templates. So we return 4 templates. So it's going to map the ID of those 4 templates and look for a match inside the section template. So once it finds the match inside the section template, we will now use the template map to create the array of key value pair. So for the key will now be the template. So that's what we're saying here. So the key will now be the template.id, and then it will return what the object will be, the template object itself. So if you come here now, So you see the ID will be the key, whereas the entire object will be the value there. So if we come here, the next match, because we returned four templates in our context, so this matched, it will look for best offers. I think we have a match there too. So best offer here. If we come to our section category section, so if we're going to our, okay, we have shop category. So shop by category, let's look for shop by category. It has what? A template. So we'll look for it. So 5D582. So if we come here, should have that too here. So you can see 5D582. So there's a match. So the template, the next one will now be, the ID will be what? The ID there, and then the value will be the object. I hope this is clear enough. So this entire object now will be copied, it will be retrieved. And then so it's key value pair. So, and that's how it is. So that's how it is. So it will be the second one, and then the third one, and the fourth one. That's how it will do it for the 4 sections, especially when it finds the match. So that's the idea. So that's what's happening. So it will store it inside our template map, and that's why it's telling you. So we are getting the length. So it found the match for all the 4 templates. So when we did a console.log loaded template.length, so you see it loaded what? 4 templates. That means all the 4 templates that we fetched here inside our inside here, all the 4 templates, we found the match inside what? The section template as well. So we find the match inside the section template, and then we have been able to store them, the object of that section of the match inside what? Template map. So that's what's going on. So after that, what we need to do next is to process each section. So each section with or without template. So here we call it a populated sections. So we're using promise.all, and then we're mapping through our sections. Remember our sections, that's where we have what? 6 sections. So our section here, close this. So we have our sections. So that's where we fetch all our active sections. And remember, we had 6 active section, found 6 sections. So from our console here, found 6 section. So that's the section we're referring to. So we can close this too. So we're mapping through that section, and then inside we're creating what? Section object. So what we are doing here now is we are converting this section from a MongoDB type document to a plain JavaScript object, so that we can render them safely in our front end. So we're converting it to what? An object, and then we cast this to what? Category section object. So category section object, if you see, is something we've been using before. So I'm just going to show you where it is. So category section object is right up here. So this is a plain type without plain object type without Mongo's document method. So that's the idea. So we want to return a plain JavaScript object, a JSON object. So we are using type and then category section object. So it has an ID, it has category, title, type, so brand, subcategories, product, layout, alignment, title, color, show all. I think we've discussed all this extensively. Order is active, and then template, we have rule override. So where we want to override, we want to use a specific the category specific rule, or we want to override the template rule, so we can use rule override. Then, and we're using a section rule. I think we've talked about that before too. So we have an item per row, items per row. We have created that, updated that. So that's what we're using there. So we can come down here. So we cast our section, we cast it to what? That category section object. So after that, we use our console, so we can get the section. So we want to get the section by their index, and then index / section length. Let's move this down. So if we come to our section, so that's why we're having what? We have section 1/6. So we have section 1/6, and then it's limited. The first one is limited stock deals. So that's what we're doing here, limited stock deals. So index plus 1, so that is 1/6 over sections dot length, and then we're getting the title. So that's what we are doing. So section dot title, and then we want to get has template. We want to check if it has template. So if it has template, it will be true. So you can see limited has what? Template. Then we want to check if it has rule override. So rule override is what? False. And if we come to our template category section here, you can see it holds true. There's no rule override, but it has template, so it's true. Template is true, rule override is false. So we're using template there and not rule override. So that's what we're doing here, and that's what you have seen inside the console. So has rule override is false. So the next thing we want to do is we want to start with our case. So we are basically having 2 cases. So the first case is we want sections. So we want we want section has rule override. So if it has rule override, that means we are making that section is category specific. No template is needed at that for that section, so it is specific to that to the selected category. For example, like I used earlier, is the phone deals. So the phone deals is specific to the phones and tablet category, so you won't find it in another category. So it is category specific. So you won't find it in home appliances, neither would you find it in TV or audio category. So it is specific to phone deals, is specific to what the phone and tablet category only. So we don't need template there. Template is not needed. So we are want to this block of code is going to treat that. So it's going to treat category specific sections. So what we're doing here is we're checking. The first thing we're checking is we want to check if it has rule override. So if section.rule override is true, we're going to come here. So we're saying console.log using rule override category specific section. So then we're saying rule. So we're getting the rule override. So we're getting it, and then we're storing it as what rule. So the rule override section.rule override, we store it as what rule. So from there we come here, and then we have the default to product type for rule override. So for most of the time, basically most of the sections that are category specific is directly relating to product. So that's why we're changing it, and we're creating a default type. So the default type is what is a type of product, and then we are saying is equal to what product. So that's what we're just doing here. Don't freak out with that. So quickly after that, we bring our build query from rule. So we bring our build query from rule. Build query from rule, if you still remember, that's what we'll be using, and we're passing the rule into it. So our rule will be the section rule. That's the rule from what for that section. So we come to our build from query rule. So this is our build from query rule. Remember, we are using three things there: the query, the sort, and the limit. And that's why we are destructuring it as well here. You can see the query, the sort, and then what the limit. So that's what we destructured here. So we want to get the query, we'll get the sort, and then the limit, and it will come from our rule, because our rule has what section.rule override. So our rule is equal to what section.rule override, which contains the logic. That logic contains both the query, the sort, and the limit. So that's why we're passing it to our rule. If you come to our database here, let's say the ones that is category specific, this is a category section. The one that's category specific, so the top phone deals. So it's category specific, it's using rule override, you can see. So if you come there, so we have our query, and then we have our sort, and then we have our limit inside the rule override. So that's the idea. So when we changed, so when we store that section.rule override as our rule, and then we pass it into our build query from rule. So from it we can now get the query, the sort, and the limit as contained in the back end here. You can see it's inside that rule override. So we have the query, we have the sort, and then we have the limit, everything inside the rule override. So that's the idea. So when we come to our rule override, we've explained this before. So we have the query, we have the sort, and the limit. So see, this is where the rule is now applied. So we can continue. You get it. You get used to it shortly. So if we come to, so we now want to build our final query. So our final query, we use the spread operator. So we're using the spread operator. So the spread operator on the query. So this will create it will create a shallow copy of that query object. So we're now adding a new property type that is category. So what we are doing is we're updating the category. So and then we're updating the category, and we're making the category equal to what category ID. So this category ID, remember the category ID that was passed from the front end, that's the selected category. So we're updating our category property inside the query into what to take this the value of the category ID we have here. So that's just what is happening. So while we return the query, we use the spread operator to create a shallow copy of a query object. So that will now be our final query. So our final query that will be passed now will be the query we received, and then inside the query object we are creating this category property. Is that you are updating. If it exists, you update it. If it doesn't exist, you create it, you add it to the query object, and then the value will be the category ID. So that's what we're using here as our final query. So it's the final query that we use. So here now we're now saying console.log the query. So query. So after that, we can now come here, we do our console.log query, and then sort, and then the limit. So after that, we come to our product. Our product is await product.find what the final query. So we're passing the final query, this final query, that's what we're passing into our product. So what we now do is we'll go to our product collection and find the product that has the same match with the final query passed. So this final query, so we'll go into our product collection and look for those products that has the same logic, whose logic is matching the final query here, and then we'll do the sort, So the sort and then the rule limit. So we're getting the sort and then we're getting the limit. So we'll pass it. So after getting those product with the same logic matching with their rule matching the final query, then we'll sort them and then we'll apply the limit as well. So notice that this first case now, this first case is for the category specific sections. So this is a non-template section. So it is not applicable inside our console yet. That's why I'm not referring you to the console yet, because we are using template. So limited stock deals is what using template. So it's not using case 1, it's using case 2. So when we get to case 1, we'll refer back to this. So without wasting time, let's just leave this here and then we'll go to case 2 so that we can see updates in real time. Or if you just want us to finish up with this, because we're almost done with it, this is for non-template section. So what we're now doing now, we're now passing what a type. So we created a constant result and we're passing the type section response. So the type section response is at the top here. Section response. So section response extend category section object. So it has so it's extending all the properties inside the category section object and adding this to it. So the type is brand, subcategory is product, items. So brand, subcategory, and product. I'm going to be showing you this very shortly. So that's what we're going to be using in our front end. And then item type is brand, subcategory, and product. So that's what we're using there. So if we come down here, so we're passing the type to this. So section response. So we're using the spread operator again to create what a section object, a shallow copy of the section object. So that's what we're doing here. And inside it, so we're adding a new property called what type. Remember we declared that type here earlier on. This is it, this type. So we're adding it to it, and then we're adding items. So the items now, we are using what the product, the product we fetched from our product collection that's stored inside the product. So is this product now. What we're now doing here is we are mapping through it, and then we are converting those products from a MongoDB data type to a JavaScript plain object. So we're converting it to JavaScript plain object so we can display it in our front end. So that's what we're doing, and you can see it's matching what our section response. So we're returning the object which is of category. So it's of a category section object. So we're using the spread operator to return all the objects, and then we are passing the type, and then we're passing the items to it. So that's the idea. So these are the new type. So inside our section, so we're passing the type to our default type, which is product, and then we're also adding the items. So and then it will be equal to what the product we stored here. Stored here. These are the products from our product collection matching our query, our final query, and then we convert it towards an object so we can display it in our front end and then after that we return all the results. So but this first case is for non-template or category specific sections. So however, what we're having at our console is the template section. That's limited stock. It doesn't have rule override. So you can see limited stock. If we come to limited stock deals, it has no rule override. It has template. So it's a template section. So it will not use case 1. It will use case 2. Section uses a template. It's a global section. So what we're doing here is we get the constant template, and then we're using our template map. Remember our template map that we created earlier on. So we're saying if there's no template, so if it's undefined, null, or nothing was returned, there's no value. So we create a warning. So no template or rule override found. So we console the log the title, and then we return what is existing. So we use the spread operator to create a shallow copy of the section object, and then the type is product, and then item becomes empty, an empty array, because nothing was found. So template was not found, so we return the result. So it will throw an error. So here else if the value is found, it will first get console.log using template.name, and you can see that's why we have using template. So the template.name is limited stock deals. So here, so if we're using a template, so the template can be majorly be of 3 different types. So it can be for brands, it can be for subcategories, and it can be product. So it can be any of these. That's what we have categorized them as. So we're now using console.log. Then the type, we want to get the type. So So the type here now is what is product. So we're using template rule or rule override if specified. So another thing is, even while you have a template, when you want to use the template inside a specific category, you can also override the template rule. So this gives you a robust and flexible flexibility. So when we come here, although it's a template, we are using a template, but there are sometimes that you want to change you want to tweak the logic a little to fit more to your category. So you can also provide a rule override, and the rule override, although you are still using the template, but it will use the rule override. Yes, and it will override what? The template rule, so that you can have more flexibility. So that's the idea. So that's why we say use template rule or rule override if specified. So the rule is equal to our section rule, which has been discussed extensively. So it's either it's a section rule or undefined. So it's a template word dot rule. So remember where the template is coming from. Let me show you again. So this is it, template. So this is where we have the map, the key value pair. So that's the thing. So we're getting the template word dot rule. So inside the template you have the rule. So template dot rule. So we'll come here now, product section. So if type is equal to product, if the type is equal to product, what we are doing now, we're saying let query. So we're using the record and then string and unknown. So it's an empty object. Then sort, we're using our sort spec. This is based on MongoDB standard. So and then created. So we're doing descending order. So then let's rule limit. So rule limit will be equal to 10. So this is like a default. So we're saying if rule is true, so that means we're using what? Template rule. So quickly let me just show you. So inside our template, section template. So inside our section template, you can see that we have the rule property there, and it's an object. So we have the name, ID, name, created at, then rule. We have the rule property, and what is an object here. So that's what we're checking. We're checking if rule was provided. That means we're using the template rule. And remember, everything is coming from here. So you see the rule is either a type of section or undefined, and is what template the word rule, and that the template is coming from our template map. So that's the thing. So we have template, you can see. So it's coming from our template map that we did earlier. So we can close this. So we're saying if rule is true, so we build our query. So we bring in we import our build query from rule and pass the rule into it. So just like I explained earlier on shortly. So we have the query. So our query will be equal to build query dot query. So query will be inside this because we're passing. So remember that our build query from rule has three major properties. That's we have the query, we have the sort, and the limit when we destructure it. So that's just the same thing that's happening. So we're saying query equal to build query dot the query, and then the sort will be build query dot sort, and then we cast it to our sort spec, and then the rule limit will be build query dot limit. Just another way of doing it, like in the initial explanation, it was destructured. So that's another form or another way to destructure it. So it's still the same. So if the rule is true, it will do this. Else, it will throw, we'll send we'll console the log no rule in template using default. So to build our final query, just like we've explained earlier, so the final query now we're going to spread we're going to use the spread operator on the query, which is this. We're using the spread operator, and then we added the category. So the category parameter, the category property, and then we make the value equal to the selected category. So that the idea is so that it will only apply the query to the product who has their category equal to this selected category. So that way it will not go and pull all the product, but it will be specific to this selected category. So for example, if we go to our product collection, if we come to our product collection here, so inside our product collection, if we come here, you find that this is our product collection. You find out that each product object, each product document inside our product collection has what belongs to a category. So you can see it has a category. So that's what we're saying. So the final selected product must belong to the selected category. So it will not just go and pick product from another, although product from another category, because the logic, the rule seems to match. So that's the condition, so that it can give us the product that are specific to the selected category. So that's why we're passing that category. You can see this product now has the category equal to it has a category property. So almost all the product, every product must belong to a category. So they all belong to a category. So it's based on the category. So you can see. So that's the idea. That's what we're doing. So we're making sure that the final query is consistent with the selected category. So that's it. So we're using the spread operator, and then we're passing that category, and then it must be equal to the value of the selected category. So that's when we now come here and we now do console.log. So query. So the query, we are using JSON.stringify. So we see we have a final query. So if you see, that's why we have a final query here. So the final query will come from our rule. So if we go back to let's go back to our section. So this is our section, and then if we have the rule, so this limited stock deals. So you can see that everything is working perfectly. It's returned it. So we have the minimum discount is 5, the maximum discount is 70. And if we come back to our console.log here, you can see the discount not greater than equal to what? 5. That's what it means, and that's true. So when we say minimum discounts, that means it must not be less than 5. So in MongoDB now, so in MongoDB, this is our minimum discount will now be changed to greater than or equal to 5. I hope that makes sense. And why we're able to do this is inside our build query, we are using, so you can see the advantage of everything we've been talking about. So we are using the filter query. So this is from Mongo's, and then this is sort order. So we're using the filter query, and you can see we passed it into our query. So that's the idea. So that's what is helping us. So that's consistent with a MongoDB query convention. So that's why we're having that greater than equal to. So that's the idea. So please note that. And then you see the less than equal to LTE, less than equal to 70, and then that's our maximum. That's our maximum discount. That's our max discount. So that means it can be less than 70, but must not be greater than 70. So that's what MongoDB will interpret it as. So that's why we have what? Less than equal to 70. So I think that's working fine. So we go to the template. So that's the first query. That's the first set of a query. Another one is we have minimum stock. So minimum stock must be 1. So that means it must be greater than or equal to 1 in MongoDB. So if we go here, so you can see in the quantity, you see greater than or equal to 1, and then let's see, we have maximum. So it's limited deals. So we are limited deals is majorly talking about products who are almost out of stock. So maybe those products have been selling, they are selling fast, and they are almost sold out. So that's the limited stock. So limited stock. So we have the max stock is what? 10. So that will be LTE 10. So if you come here, that's why we have what? LTA, less than or equal to what? 10. Now you can see the logic makes sense. So that's why we create the template. So the logic is the same across all categories. So when we're talking about limited stock in practice is just talking about the products that are almost sold out, products that are almost nearing finishing. The product whose quantity is now what is low. So that means those products have been selling fast and is almost out of stock. So that's why we call it limited stock. So you see, limited stock, the logic is general across all categories. So you don't have to create it one after the other. So you just create a template, and that template will work across board. And when you are adjusting the logic, the rule, you just need to adjust it or update it in one place, and it will also work. It will work across board. Even if you have 10,000 categories where limited stock deals are used, you just need to change from one place. But just imagine if you have to create it one after the other. So that's the advantage. That's the sense behind this idea. So that's the thing. So after that quantity, let's check, is there other query there? So that's all. So we're just using 4 queries here. Okay, so you can see the next one that was added. You can see it's not inside our rule, it's not inside our rule object in the document, in the limited stock deals document, inside the collection, inside our MongoDB. You see that there's no category. So that's why we're adding that category now from the backend. You can see the category was added. But if you check here, there's no category property here. So there's no category property here. So we added the category property to be specific, because we cannot add that category to our MongoDB, because this is a template. It's supposed to be general for all categories needing it. So that's why we do not add category inside here. So the category will be added at the backend level. So that's what we're doing. So, and it will now be equal to the selected category. That way it makes sense, right? And it's dynamic. So that's why we now added the category object, the category property. So that it will restrict it to the selected category. So the product that will be returned will be consistent with the selected category. So that's the idea. So we now have a category here. So the final query now, we look into these two, and then also make sure that it is consistent with the selected category. So that's the idea. So if we now come here, so that's the query. So that's a query, and then so from there we now go to our product. We go to our product collection and apply the final query. So the final query now, we look for the product who has. We'll go to the product collection and check for product with discount matching this, and then quantity matching this, and then category matching this. So those are the products. So we will go and look for those products and fetch them. The product that meets these 3 criteria. So it will fetch them. So that's why we're passing the final query, and then it will sort them. So we're applying the sort. So if we come back to our, so we have the sort here. So sort is what? Trending. So we can go, let's go to our section rule and see what trending means. So this is it. So this is it inside our sort, inside our build query from rule. So inside our sort map. So inside our sort map, we see that trending is what? Sales count in descending order and view count. So these are the two criteria that will be used there. So it will look for the products in, they are both in descending orders, in descending order, meaning that it will display those products with highest sales count first. So that's in descending order. So it's taken from highest to lowest. So for view count, also from highest to lowest. So the product that will be displayed first are the product with the highest count, sales count, and then the highest view count. So these are the two things that it will match, and then that's what will be used to display the product there. So that's what it's using. That's what trending is saying. So when it comes to the when it comes to the backend and the product that matched our final query has been selected, it will now rearrange those products according to the sort criteria, which means the first the highest selling product will come first. The highest selling product with the highest view count will come first. So, and it keeps from highest to lowest, keeps going down. That's the idea. Then we passed what the limit. So we want to limit the number of product that will be displayed. So if we come to the limit here, the limit is what? 12. So it will limit it to what? 12 products. So 12 products. So let's say, for example, our final query, we're able to get 20 products that meet the criteria. On our final product, we have 20 products. So after that 20 products, it will sort those 20 products based on their sales count and view count. So the ones that has highest will come up first. So out of that 20, it will rearrange it in that order. Then it will now limit it to the first 12 that passed the condition here. Then the limit, it will, out of 20 now, it will bring only the first 12. That means the remaining 8 will not be passed to the front end. So that's the idea. So that's what we're doing here. And then if you check, let's see, inside our tag, do we have any rule there? There's no rule. Inside our promo, there's no rule. So it is only using the query and then the sort and then the limit. So that's the idea. I hope this is simple enough and explains everything. So that's what we're doing here. And so you can see, so, and then we have the second section. You see, that's how it's moving it. So the second section is also what it has what template rule. So that we're using, so that means we are using what template. So if we come back to our app, for example, let's go to our limited stock deals. Before we go to, so let's see this in practice. So if we go to our limited stock deals, so the limited stock deals is talking about all the product. So limited stock deals now is talking about all the product whose category is equal to, number one, whose category is equal to what the selected category, and then number two, all the product of that selected category with a discount greater than what? 5, and then greater than equal to 5, and then less than equal to 70, then with quantity greater than equal to 1 and less than equal to 10. And you can see here the first one is inside our limited stock deal section is Philly 665 type C. So type C, and then so let's go and look for that inside our product collection. So this is our product collection. If we come to our product collection, so let's look for, so we're talking about Philly 65. So this is it, Philly 65 type C charger. So if we come here, let's check the category first. You can see the category is consistent. It has what? 3A8. That's the selected category. Then we go into the what's it called? We go into the properties of that document. So if we come there, you can see that it has, let's see the quantity. You can see the quantity is 5. Okay, let's start from the discount. So you can see the discount. The discount is what? 5. So it has, so that's why it passed the test. So if we come here, we can see it's greater than equal to what? 5. So greater than equal to 5 and less than equal to 70. So that means it holds true. So it has quantity 5. That means it's greater than, it is equal to 5. So it is correct. It passed the test. Then the second one is less than or equal to 70. So it is less than 70. That's the idea. So this one is correct. It passed the discount test. Then we'll come to the quantity. The quantity is greater than 1 and less than what? 10. So if you come to the quantity, you see the quantity is 5, so it's greater than 1, and it's less than 10. So that's the idea. So it passed it. So it has passed the first, the second, and the third test. It passed the category test, it passed the discount test, and it passed the quantity test. Then the next one now, why is it showing up first? We have to go into the sales count. So if we go to the sales count, you can see it has a sales count of 300 and has a view count of 1,200. You see, so if we go to the second one, let's go and check the second one so that we can establish why this is coming out first. So the second one is PL203 2 pieces power bank. PL203 2 pieces power bank. So I'm sure it passed the quantity test. You can see it's 5. The discount is 5, and then the quantity is also 5. So you can see, and then we have the view count. You see the view count here is the sales count is what is 20. The sales count for the charger, Type-C charger, was 300, and then the view count here is 50, whereas his own view count was what 1200. You can see, so you can see the logic behind it. That's why this thing is powerful. So if you come to the third one, let's do one more. Redmi. So Redmi A1. Let's look for Redmi A1. So fine. So you can see we have Redmi A1 here, and then let's check the category test. Let's check the category. It is consistent 3A8 6C 3A8. Then we have the discount. You can see the discount is 35, and the discount here specified that the discount has to be greater than 5 and less than 70. So it passed the discount test. So here we have the quantity is 10. The quantity is 10, and then the criteria here is it must be greater than 1, it must be greater than or equal to 1, and then it must be less than equal to 10. So it's scaled through. It's exactly equal to what 10. Then let's check the sales count. You can see the sales count is 7, and then the view count is 17, and you can see this is working perfectly well. So we can continue. So it will return them, and that's how it continues. So this is for the product base. So what we continue, we'll now continue with what the brand section. So remember, our category section was categorized or was split into 3 major types, and that's we have the product, we have the brand, and then we have the subcategories. So what we've done so far, we've worked on the product section. So the next section we are going to deal with now is the brand section. So we're saying if type equal to brand. So if type equal to brand, if the type is equal to brand, what we're going to do, we're going to go to our brand collection. So say brand equal to our brand collection, and then we'll go and look for the document inside our brand collection, or the document that has their category, equal to what the selected category ID. So that means that that category has brand, and then we'll fetch them and store those brand documents inside our brand. So quickly, I'm going to take you through our brand schema, our brand model, and then the controllers. So I think it makes sense that way. So we'll come here, come to our model. So inside our model, we'll bring up brand schema. And then let's bring up our brand controller. So inside our brand, so this is our brand schema. So we have an interface called brand. So brand extend document. So we have the name, we have the slug, we have the image URL, we have the category, and then we have the sections. So we may not be needing this for now, so let's remove it. So let's do brands again. So this is a brand schema. So inside there we have the interface. So brand extend document. So document is coming from Mongoose. So all the ID and all other like the ID, the date, created date, updated ad version will be provided by our document from Mongoose. So that's why we're not writing them here anymore. So we have the name of string, slug, string, image URL, string, and it's an array of string because we will need it for our front end. So already written that there. Then we have the category. So you see that every brand belongs to what a category. So that's why we're using category, and then the ID, and then every brand belongs to what a section as well. So I think it makes sense. It belongs to a category section. So that's why we have reference for each brand. So it must reference what the appropriate category and section it belongs to. So from there we created our schema. So we have the name, we have the slug. I think this is well explanatory. So we have done it. We've done this countless time. So there's no point wasting time on it. So we have the category. So you see, so we're making reference to the category collection, and then it's making reference to the section collection, so that we can match it with the appropriate category and section. So that's it about our schema. So we come to our controller. Inside our controller, we create what the brand. So to create the brand, I think we've also talked about this method over time severally, so we don't need to waste time on it again. So the map file URL, we've also talked about it. The slug, we're using Slugify. We have a name, category, section, and then so we're getting the request. So the request will be, this is the structure of the request. So we have a name, image, URL, category, section, and slug. So that's what we're getting here. So with the structure, the request. So the request is body, we have the name, category, and then the section. So the slug will be provided through our Slugify and using the name. So that's why we didn't add it. Then the image, we'll get it through our map file URL. Get it through our map file URL, and then we'll use the logo URL for our brand. So we can come here. Let me just quickly show you all that. So the map file will be from our utils, from our middleware. So if we go to our middleware, so we have it inside our upload, and then our and then the Slugify will come from our utils. So we have our Slugify, we have the Slugify inside the utils. So I've explained this before, so we'll not be wasting time on it, just to show you. So we have the map file URL. So this is what it is. So this is what helps us to get our URL part and the name. So we get the file, you can see. So we are not going to be wasting time on that. We've done the explanation before. So this is our Slugify. We used to convert the name and then replace any special character, especially the ampersand and the ampersand with what and, so that it will not throw error, because this ampersand is actually used as a logic, so it could mean something else if you pass it directly. So that's why we're changing it to what the alphabetical and. So we remove invalid characters. So we remove it, that's what this is doing, and then the space to hyphen. Instead of having a white space, so we are going to change it to hyphen, and then we collapse multiple hyphens together. So that's the idea. So, and that's all we're using our Slugify for. It's straight and simple enough. And then so after that, so we use the Slugify on the name so that we can get this. And then we have our brand, so we create a new brand. So we got to bring this down. So we create a new brand here, a new brand document inside the brands collection. So new brand, and we send it to the database. So we have the name, the slug, the category, the section, the image will be equal to our logo URL. So the logo URL that we used here. So that's it. And then we save it so that we can send it and save it inside our MongoDB in the back end. And then if there's an error, we'll catch the error. So that's it. We have the update brand. So I just read the code around because that's not what we're going to focus on now. So if you want to update the brand, then you want to delete the brand. Then, so here we have our get brand by category and section. So here we can fetch our brands based on their category and section. So that's it. So we're using category ID and section ID. So we get it from the request.params. So, and then we go into our brand collection and find a brand whose category equal to the selected category ID, and then the section ID is equal to what the section ID from the request.params. Then we return the brand. So I think we're good to go. So this is all about our brand controller. So the other part will remain the same. Okay, let me just show you for reference and clarity purpose. So for inside our controller we have the index. So inside the index we export all from what brand controller. So that's what we're doing here. So from there we go to our root. So if we go to our root, so we have the brand root. So inside the brand root we'll have the index inside the brand root as well. So if we collapse this, so we're getting Express from Express. So we are getting all the create brand, delete brand, get brand by category and section, and update brand. So everything will come from our controller. That's the index inside our controller. Then we're having the upload product image from middleware. So from our middleware, we've closed the middleware. So let's bring that back. So we have because that's where we're going to be using Malta to save and store our images. So we have the brand. So here we have the brand root. So router equal to express dot what router. So we have the express here. So that's where we're getting it from. So express from express. So we're saying express dot what the router. So equal to what our router. So we use a post request here. So inside our post request, this is what we'll use to save our brand document, all our brand document one after the other into our brand collection in MongoDB. So we are sending the create brand, we're using the create brand, and then we're also attaching the upload product images. So that's what will help us upload the product images. So we'll link the URL and then save the image of the product inside our backend, inside our assets in the backend. So I'm just going to show you that. So we'll go to upload product images. So this is upload product images. So export specialized upload Midwest. So we have a constant upload product images. So we're using the upload.array. So because we're sending some of the time we'll be sending more than one image for each document, for each logo, for each brand. So let's get our upload. Our upload is here. So it's from Malta. We're using Malta. So upload. So we're using Malta. We import Malta. We installed Malta inside our dependencies. That's what we're calling here. So okay, let me just go up. So you can see Malta from Malta. So Malta from Malta, we are using path, we're using request from Express, we're using sanitize file name. So sanitize file name will come from our utils, and then we're using the base path. So base path is from our config. So let me show you everything. So our config, we have the base path from our index, and then we are also using from our util we have sanitize file name. So that will be for our file helpers. So the config, this is where we store our, so we don't have to keep repeating the base path, so we just store the base path here. So HTTP, so like I said, if you're using a Mac computer, you just change this IP address. So all you just need to do is change this IP address to localhost, and then you can still retain your port and then where you want to save your asset in your asset folder. So we're saving it inside our asset folder, which is this folder. So you can see all the images are there, all the assets are there. So that's where we're saving it in our backend, and then we're using the base part. So this is the base part. So that's what we called here inside. So we come here, we configure the disk storage. So image storage, we are using Malta. There's what we call disk storage inside Malta, and then it has what destination. So destination, the callback function. So the destination is what we are saving into what assets folder. So like I showed you just now, so we're saving it, we save into our asset folder. So the file name, this is where we now get the file name, we generate the file name. So we're using sanitize file name. So we're getting the request.body.name, the name, and then so we'll be using the base name of the file, or of the base name of that document. So we have the file.origin, or we use the file.original name. So that's what we're saying. So we call the callback function. So what it will return is the base name. So the base name which has been sanitized. So if we go to our helpers, so you can see this is the sanitize function. So what we're doing here, it will sanitize the file names. So only text plus number will be used, because that's what is saved for URLs. So we are using only text and numbers. Any special characters, all those unnecessary ones, will replace them. So that's why we come here and say we return name. So we are passing an argument name, and it's a string. So we're turning to lowercase. So we're using the lowercase method, and then we replace. So we remove everything except letters plus number. So that's what this is doing. So it will return only letters and numbers. So special characters will be removed. Then the substring, so it will fall back if name becomes empty. So that's the idea. So if the name becomes empty, it will fall back. So that's what we're using this for, and that's it. Our sanitize file name. So I think we're good to go with that. So we sanitize the name. So whichever name that was passed from our body, from our request, from our request.body.name. So we will sanitize this. We use this sanitize file name to sanitize it to only return the name with alphabet, only return the alphabet and numbers. Any special character there will be removed. So that's the idea. So the callback function will now be the base name. So we are providing an hyphen. So after the base name, whatever the name is, it will fetch that. Then we'll now join the name with the current date as of the time the document, the image was generated. So it will use date.now, and then we get the extension, the file extension. So that's what we're using, path.extension name. So we get the extension. We are going to pull. We're going to extract the extension of that file. So that's why we're using the extension. So file.what original name. So we'll get the extension from there. It will pull the extension. It will extract the extension there. So after all that, we'll come to upload. So let me just show you what we're doing from our. So if we come to our MongoDB, if we go to our brand, so this is the brand. So if you come to the image URL, so you can see it is using the HTTP, it's using the base name, the base part from our config. So you can see it's using my IP address, the port name, and then asset. So it's pointing to the asset folder, and you can see we have techno brand. You can see it's only alphabet. So it would, if there's any, or if there's any character there, it will remove it. So it will only return only alphabet and what number. So here there was no number, so it returned only the alphabet. So and after that, you can see that there's the iPhone. So the iPhone that we specified here. So you can see the iPhone here. So that's what's bringing, and then it will add what, the date, the current date when we saved it. So that's this. So this is the date, and then it extracted what, the file extension from the original name of the file we were trying to save. So it will extract the extension name, and then add it it will attach it to what, this to complete it. So that's why we have the PNG here. So if we looked at another one here, so you can see, so everything is working fine and perfectly. So that's the idea. That's what all this for. So after that, we have we'll upload the Malta uploader instance. So this is what we're doing. So we're inside that we're going to be using Malta as well. So we call it upload Malta. So we have the storage. It will be equal to the image storage. That's image storage here. So that's what he's talking about. So then we'll limit. So we want to limit the size. So the maximum file size that we'll accept is what, 5 MB. If it goes beyond 5 MB, to throw an error. So that's the limit we have provided there. So the file filter. So here we are using we're getting the constant allowed. So these are the formats that is allowed. So it's either JPEG, JPG, PNG, or GIF. So these are the format that we allow. So extension. So the password extension. So we'll go and get the original name, and then we change it to what, lowercase, just to make sure it's consistent with our allowed format. So we change it because everything is lowercase. So we change it to lowercase. Whatever case it brought the file extension is, it will be converted to lowercase. So if allowed.test, so we want to test it and ensure that the file that is being passed is in line with any of these format. So if allowed.text, so the extension, you can see the extension here. So if it's in line, so then what we will say callback function. So it's true. Else, so we'll throw an error and say only image files are allowed. So we'll throw an error, and the error will be only image files are allowed. So that's the idea. So that's how we came to our upload product image. So upload product image, now we'll now take the upload. So this upload. So we're using this upload here, the upload function and the instance, and then we are bringing it to our upload, and we are saying it's an array. So it will accept one or more images. So we reduce it to 5. So you shouldn't accept more than 5 for a document. So it will, if it's one that was sent, it will accept it. And if you send more than one, it will save them accordingly under that document, but it should not be more than 5. So that's what we're doing. So we can come to our root. So if we come to our root, so we're now calling we imported the upload product images, and then we're passing our create brand. So we want to get, if you want to get, this is the get request to get brands by category and section. So this is for update. So we have to pass the ID of the brand we want to update, the brand document, the ID of the brand document we want to update, and then do our update. So even if it's the image too, so that's why we're passing the image upload product images again, we update, and then for delete, this is what we'll use. So we also pass the ID of the brand document we want to delete. So after that, we export router as brand router, and then we'll bring it to our index. Not this index, this is the config. So to be our root index. So we export everything from brand root. So that's the idea. So we're exporting everything from brand root, and then inside so after that, we now take it to our Express. That's the final part. So Express here. So inside Express here, we are now going to import. We import our brand. So you can see, so app.use brand, and then we are using the brand root. So this brand root is coming from our index because we exported everything from our brand inside our index, our brand root. So anything we want to use, so you can see brand root is from our root, our index. So our index root, our root index. So and that's all we need to do. We just app use brand, and then it will pull all the section, all the functions when necessary. So we just say brand root, that's all, and then we're good to go. So we can close this, and then we can close this and close this. So we'll go back to our category section controller. So inside there, so that's where we're now making reference to what the brand collection, and they need to find all the brand whose category is equal to the word selected category. And remember our selected category. So if we come back to our brand collection, you will see that there's a category property there. You can see. So that's what we are. That's what we are matching. That's what we're looking at. So that's why we call it what category equal to what category ID. So if we come here, you see that this ID is consistent with our currently selected category. So you can see 6388. 6388, and then so if you come to Oraimo brand, so you can see we have 388 as well, so it belongs to that category. So we have different brands here. So we have techno brands, so all this now belongs to what the category, the phone and tablet or category. So you can see that's why you're using 6C388. So another brand we have here is Redmi brand. So you know these are different phone brands. So we have Oraimo brand, we have Infinix brand, we have Itel brand, we have Samsung brand, we have a Philly official store. So and that's it. So you keep having your brands like that. So I think we're good to go. So we'll fetch it after that. So console.log found. So if it's found, so we get the brand, so we get the length, we get the number of brands that was found, and then here will come our result sections response. I think we've explained this before. So we are using spread operator on our section object, and then we pass the type. So the type here now will be what brand, and then the items. So brand.map, so we convert it to from what a Mongo data type to a JavaScript plain object, so we can display it in our front end. So that's what it's doing. So we're going to the brands that we fetched here. Brands, all the brands that are stored in here, will convert it to what an object, a JavaScript object. So we can use it in the front end, and then we return what the result. So this is the result. So that's what that's what we'll return. So we return the result. So I think we are good to go. That settles it for the brand. So for the subcategory, so for the subcategories, so we are going to check just the same way we did for the brand. So we'll check if the type is equal to subcategories. So if it's equal to subcategories, we'll go to, so we'll call it subs. We'll go to our subcategory collection and find all the categories. We are going to find from all the document that has its category equal to the selected word category. That is category ID, and that's why we have that's what we are using for our shop by category here. So without wasting time, let me take you through our subcategory schema controller, and then the rows. So if we come to the model here, our model folder, so we have the category schema. So we can close this. Then, so inside our category schema, so we have the model. So we're also importing Mongo's schema and documents from Mongo's. So we have the types there, the data structure, the structure of our subcategory collection or document. So we have the type there. So we're saying type cat types params. So inside our cat types, so our types can be either a deal cat, the home cat. No, we're talking about, it's not category schema, we're talking about the subcategories controller schema. Yeah, so this is it. So we're bringing the subcategory, so that's what we need right now. So we have the Mongo's and then schema and document from our Mongo's. Then we also have the category, so we are bringing the category from our category schema. So and then we have the category section from our category section. So we have the interface subcategory, so it's extend document as usual. So we have the name, we have the slug, we have the image URL, we have its active, we have category, and then we have the section it belongs to, almost similar to our brand. So the only thing here is that we're using is active, and you can also pass that to our brand too, so that we can display only the brand who's currently active in the store. So that's the idea. So if not, every other thing is the same. So every subcategory must belong to a category and a section. So that's the idea. So every subcategory belongs to what a category and a section. So and it's just almost the same thing with our brand. So the structure, the data structure here, the document structure is almost the same with what we had in our brand. So we'll not be wasting time on that. So this is the schema, and then we're making reference to category, and then we're making reference to section, and then we have the timestamp equals to true. And after that, our subcategory Mongo's model. So we're passing the subcategory, and then we're saving it. We're calling it what subcategory. That will be the name it will be called inside our MongoDB, and we're passing the word subcategory schema, so that we can save it in our MongoDB database in our backend. So that's what we're doing. So and then for the category, we're making reference to the category type, and then we're getting what the category interface, and we are pulling our ID. For the section, we are getting the category section interface, and then we are pulling what the ID. So inside our brand schema too, I think I forgot to show this. So our brand schema, inside our brand schema, so we have the timestamp true, and then we have the word the brand. So Mongo's model, so we're pulling the brand, and then we're saving it as brand, and then we are passing what the brand schema. So that's it. It's very important. So we're passing it. So inside, so here as well, okay, let me just quickly show our category interface and category section interface. So it's from our category schema and our category section schema. So we have what the category. So they say we have the I category, so it's extending document, so we can pull the document. So it's going to be from our MongoDB. So it's a Mongo's. So it will be from Mongo's. So the document will contain what ID automatically added by what Mongo's. That's why we're using extend document. So we don't have to provide an ID here. And then if you come to our category schema, so we have the I category extend what document. So Mongo's will automatically provide what the ID. So that's what it means. So this two. So we are pulling this, we are importing this, and then into our brand schema and our subcategory schema, and then we're also pulling this I category section into our brand schema and a subcategory schema. So that's what we're doing. So we can remove this now. So this is our subcategory schema. So that's where we're importing it. We are importing them from. So you can see I category and I category section. So this is our schema, and I think we are good to go here. So after that, we'll come to our controller. Inside the controller, we have, so we're using the map file. So we have explained that we're using Slugify. So we're using the map file URLs, and then we're using Slugify function as well. And then we are calling the model the subcategory schema. So that's what we'll be using. So we'll create our subcategory here to create a subcategory. So it's almost the same with what we did when we created the brand. When we created brand, so we're getting the request.body, so name category section, and then it's active. So we're using the image URL, passing the map files, just then so slug, we are using the Slugify, just the same way we did earlier. So subcategory, so we create a new subcategory. We create a new subcategory document. So that's it. So new subcategory. So we create a new subcategory document which will be saved in our MongoDB. So and we're passing the name, the slug, the category, the section, the image URL is active. So await subcategory.whatSave. So it will be saved in our MongoDB, and then we return the response. Or if there's an error, we throw an error and display the error message. So that's what's going on. So we also have to, for update subcategory, we have the update subcategory function. I'm just going to show you that. After that, we have the delete subcategory. We have the delete subcategory to delete a subcategory. And after that, we have the get subcategory by category and what section. And everything is, so we're good to go. So we'll use the request.params to do that. And we're going to our subcategory collection. So I think we're good to go, and then we'll save it inside our index as well. It's very important. So if we come to our index here, so we see export everything from subcategory controller. You can see it here. So we save it here, and then so we can move on to our. So if we come to our root here, we have our subcategory root. So it's similar to our brand root that we just explained now. So we have you can see everything remains, the pattern remains the same. So router from Express the router. So we have the post request, and then we're using the upload product images because we will be uploading images too for our subcategory. So we create subcategory. So get request, put for update, and delete to delete a category document, a subcategory document. So we're using router as subcategory root, and then we also export everything in our index, our root index. So we export everything what category root, and then we'll come to our Express. So we'll come to our Express. Inside our Express, inside services, so we have the Express app, and then we import it. So you can see our subcat, so subcategory root. So we are importing it. So we are what the subcategory root, and that's all. So I think we're good to go. So the next thing, I'll just show you around our subcategory collection. So we'll come to our database. You'll see that we have what subcategory. So we can come to the collection. Let's open it in a new tab. So you see, so our subcategory, we have what Android, and then we have the image URL. So you can see everything is working fine. So we have Android, we have iPhone, we have a tablet, we have renewed fonts, and so on. And please do not forget that we are using Postman. I use Postman to send this data to the back end. So when you're done, you can just come. So this is for template. So let's get the category, the subcategory and brand. So this is for subcategory. So for subcategory, I use body, and then we used form data because we're sending images. So we use form data there. So it's very important that I show you. So if you come to our subcategory, you can see, so we provide the section you want it to belong to. So we copy the ID of the section it belongs to and paste it here inside our value. Then we have the name. So the name, you can see airboard. So we have image URL. So we're passing the image. So we just come here. If you just come here, click this, it will open what the image. So let's say, so you select files, it will go to your directory. So you can select the files and know all this has been kept in our description box. So you can go there so that you can get all these images. Everything is there. So the link is there already in our description box. Just check it. So we have is active, so it's true. And then category, so we'll get the category ID, so we can reference it to the appropriate what category. And then we have what the section, so we make reference to what the section. So we pass the ID of the category it belongs to and the ID of the section it belongs to. And that's all you need to do. And then after that, you click on save, and it will save it. So that's for it. And it's a post request. Don't forget it's a post request. And then you can see I'm using my API. So don't forget, if you're using Mac computer, most of the time all you just need to do is change the IP address to localhost and retain your port and then your subcategory. So and for the brand, so for brands we did almost the same. So it's a form data. We're going to our body, form data, and this is brand. So form data, and then you can see the name, the image URL, you select the image, and then category, and then the section, and then you press send, and then make sure it's a post request, and then the URL is also correct, and then you send it, and it will hit your backend. That's it. It's as simple as straightforward. And this brand, so it's from our Express. So I'm getting from our Express. So if we come to our Express, our service, so that's what we declared. So Express app inside our service. So if we come here, so you can see brand, and for subcategory we call it subcat. So that's what it's referencing. So that's it. And then inside our subcategory root, we did not provide any reference, so it's empty. So that will do. So if you come here again, you can see. So that's why we're using word brands. And for our subcategory, you can see subcat. So that's where it holds true. So you can see subcat and brands. So it's pointing at it. So I think we're good to go. So we can go back to our categories section controller, and then okay. So that's why we have inside our this is our subcategory collection. So we have the accessory. So you can see Android. We have iPhone. So these are the subcategories. And if you check, let's go to our mobile device, our mobile app. So you can see for the subcategory for phones and tablets. So that's why we have Android, we have iPhone, we have tablets, we have renewed phones, we have fold phones, and then we have earbuds. So that's it. So we're getting it from there. So when we came here, so we came to our subcategory. So we say if type is equal to subcategories. If the type is equal to subcategories, so we're saying sub away. So we go into our subcategory collection we just created and find the category that is equal to what the category selected category. So So we are going to look for all the documents inside the subcategory collection whose category is equal to what category ID. So we go to our category collection and look through all the documents. This is document 1, document 2. So they're saving document. So we'll go and look into all the documents and look at the category property and see the ones whose the value of the category property matched the selected category. So you can see. So that's why we have it. You can see there's a match. So that's where it's coming from. You can see the match. So that's it. So we'll store all those documents, all the documents inside our subs, all the documents that meets the criteria. We save it inside our subs here, and then if none was found, so if none was found, it will throw an error. But here the console.log is checking for the ones that was found. So we're checking the length. We get the length. So if it is 2, it will say 2 subcategories, found 2 subcategories. So here we are using the same result. So like we've been using. So result section response, and then we are using our spread operator section object, and then we're adding this type. So this type will now be subcategories, and then the item. So we are converting the subs, all the subcategories document we have here. We are converting it from a Mongo type document type to a JavaScript plain object, so we can display it in the front end, and then we return the result. That's this result. So that's that about all our categories. So we can close this, close our brand, and then the product. So we have the product section, we have the brand section, and we have the subcategory sections. So default fallback. So if the type that was if we could not find the appropriate type, it will send a warning. So unknown type. So the type has to be one of these 3 subcategory: product, brand, and subcategories. So else it will throw an error. It will send a warning, unknown type. So constant result. So it will return we use our spread operator and spread for our section object, then the type, and then the items will be an empty array, because we don't know the type. So that's default fallback. So that's what we use, and then after that we can we return that result as well. So else we have the catch. So the catch is inner error. So if there's an error, so we'll display the error. So error resolving the section. So it will display the error. So if there's an error, it will display it. So it will come, and then we use our result section response, and then so the section we are going to we convert it to an object and cast it to our category section object. So the type will be product, and items will be an empty array. So and then we'll return the result. So this is a whole idea. So what I'll do here, I'll come here, let me collapse so you can see everything. So if you collapse this, so you see that everything we'll be working on is on the populated section. So that's what we use to populate all the sections accordingly. So if you so we are doing so this is our try. So you see our try and catch. So we're using the try catch block. So this is the try. So everything we've been doing so far, since it's inside the try block. So and then we have the catch. So if there's an error, so this is how we catch the error. So that's what's going on. I just needed to see that, so there will be no confusion, and then we'll return the entire result here. So we return the entire result, and then we're good to go. So if we come here now, if we go to our mobile device, so remember that we are mapping through all the sections, so and then pulling the relevant product or brand or subcategories for all the sections. So remember that it's very important. So that's what we're doing here, section.map. So for each section, so we're now using the try block to check if the section is of type of product or brand or subcategories, and that's why we're displaying them accordingly too. So that's what's happening here. So if you come to our console, you discover that inside our console, the first one we did was a limited deals section, and is a type of product. So that's why we display the product that are relevant, that are in line with that section. So after that section, the next section we had, as you can see, 2/6. So that was shop by category, and that's why you have shop by category here. And you can see has template is true, has rule override. So all that console will guide you to see how this logic works. So please just try it out on your own so that I will not waste time here unnecessarily. So you has template true, has rule override is false. You get, so using template, so we're using template shop by what category. So the type, you can see it's giving us subcategories. So we're not doing magic here. Everything was well structured, and that's it. So the next one is what we have, what is section, the third section, which is a top font deal. So if you scroll up, you can see that's why we have what top font deals, and you can see, and then has template, it is false because it is product based. It has rule override true, so because it is category specific, it's specific to that category, phones and tablets. So using rule override, so you can see category specific section. So we have the query, so we're going to get the query. So this is the query, it is using there. So you see it, so they have the quantity greater than or equal to what 1, and then the tags. We are using this operator. This operator is from MongoDB, so it will look for the product that has any of these. So anyone will pass the test. So that's what this operator means. So the next one is, the next category section will be best offers. So you can see we have best offers. So, and you can see everything is working out fine. So you see it's a type of product. If you check it, so type is a product. So this is the query. See the query, we're using discount greater than equal to 20, or quantity greater than equal to 1, and then this is the category must be what? The category is the selected category. So after that, we have the fifth section. It is Philly official store. So if we go to the fifth section, it is Philly official store, and then it has template false, rule override true. So using rule override, so the query, you can see the query. So this is the query there, and then we're using tags. So the tag must be what? Philly. So those product, any product that will be selected must contain Philly in the tag, and then this query too, the quantity query. So, and then it must belong to the selected category, and then we have the sort. You can see sort by sales count from descending order, and then the limit is what 8. Then we have the sixth one, which is what new arrivals. So the sixth section is new arrival, has template true, and then the query, you can see the query, the quantity, and then we're using the quantity, and then we're using what category. So quantity greater than what 1, greater than or equal to 1. That's the query. And then the second query is category, it must belong to the same category, and then we're using what the sort. So it's created that, so the sort here is created that, so from the descending, and then we're in descending on that, and then we're saying what limit to what 12. So you can see this way it did the summary. So we have found 4 products, found 6 subcategories, found 9 products, found what 8 products, so found 4 products, and found what 12 products. So based on the section. So we have the subcategory, so it found six subcategories. So if we go there, you can see 1 2 3 4 5 6. So it found 6 subcategories that matched our condition, our criteria. So that's what it returned here. And then we have 4 products. That's for the limited deals. 4 products match the criteria. That was what it returned. That was what it displayed. And then we have after that the top font deals. So 9 products. So it has 9 products. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So you can see it has 9 products there. And then after that we have 8 products. That's for best offers. And then we have 4 products for Philly store. 1 2 3 4. You can see everything is working fine. And then for new arrivals, we have 12 products that are new arrival, that is under new arrival. So everything is working out fine. So we can close this. So let's go to our try. You can close our try block, and then we can now close we're done with our populated word section. So this is where we have the console.log total sections. So total sections process that we just mentioned now. So total section process is what 6. So we did the summary so that all these things will make sense, and then you can track everything and see that there's no bug, everything is working now fine. So we have 6 total section processed. So we have the limited 1 2 3, we have the limited 1, we have shop by categories 2, we have the top font deals 3, we have best offers 4, we have Philly stores 5, and we have new arrivals 6. So we have 6 processed. So populated sections, the word length. So console.log section summary. So we have the section summary, so you can see, so that you can just put everything in perspective. So this is where we did, this is what we did. So let me bring this down. So section summary. So section summary, we have populated section for each. So we're using for each to bring the summary of the section. So you can see we have limited stock deals. We have 4 items. So 4 products. So we have a shop by category, you see 6 items. Top phone deals, 9 items. And then top best offers, so you can see Philly store and new arrivals. So this is making sense, isn't it? This place. So let's go ahead. The next one and the last one we'll be doing now is the paginated product for bottom grid. So if we bring it here, like we mentioned earlier, so you can see after the sections we have the paginated product, and look at this, is beautiful. And you can see the spinner there to fetch and to refresh and fetch more product. So if I scroll it up again, you can see this is beautiful, and that's the last product in that meets the condition. That's the end of the product for that category. So that's why nothing is coming up anymore, and you can see this is beautiful. So we're able to achieve this using what our paginated product. So we use paginated product. So we need to get the pages, so we'll come back up here, so we can close this try as well. No, not this. So section template. Okay, we've closed the populated. So we've closed the populated sections. So we can go to our paginated section. So to get started with paginated section, we need to come back here, so we can explain some of the things we're using up here. So without wasting time, so the first one we have here is the page. So we have the page, and then constant page. So here, so what we are using this line, actually what this line is doing is simple. So it retrieves the page query parameter for the request URL. So this helps us to understand or know the current page, our current page. That's what that line of code is talking about. So we're using pass in. So because this request.query.page is what we cast it as string, so it converts it to it will convert it. That pass integer will convert it to an integer. So this will convert it to an integer using what's base 10. And we are saying if we are not able to get value for this, if it is empty or invalid or missing, it should default to what? 1. That means the first page. So that's what it's saying. So if the page parameter is missing, so if it's missing or invalid, it will default to what? 1. So it will be the first page. That's what this is talking about. Then the second one is similar to the first. Is similar to, so the second line of code here is similar to the first one. So what this one is doing here is that it retrieves the limit query parameter, whereas the first one retrieve the page the page query parameter. The second one retrieve what? The limit parameter. So this helps us to determine how many items to be shown per page. So that's what the limit is. So the first one shows the page we are, whereas the second one shows the limit, the number of items that is shown per page. And as at the same time, what we are doing here is we are saying if the limit parameter is missing or it's invalid, it will default towards 6. So we are saying 6 items per page. That's what it means. So if the limit was not provided or is invalid, it will use 6 items per page. So the last one, which is the third one, which is the skip line of code. So what we are doing here is this actually helps us to calculate the number of items to skip based on the current page and then the limit. So let's say, for example, if the page is 2 and the limit is 6 per page, it skips the first 6 items because the first 6 items belongs to what? Page 1, and then start from the 7th item, which is now what? The beginning of what? Page 2. So to start from the 7th to what? The 12th item, that will be what? Page 2, based on our limit, because the limit is 6 per page. So page 1 we have 1 to 6, and then page 2 we have what? 7 to what? To 12. So that's the idea. So that's the difference between the page, the limit, and the skip. So I think this is simple enough. So we can come down here. We can come down to our paginated product section. Let's minimize this a little for now. So we're using promise not all there, and then we are looking into our product.find, so category. So you see we are passing the skip there, and then we are passing the limit. So that's the idea. And then we are using the product.count document. So these are the 2 criteria we're passing in here. And then so we use our console.log read. So we're using the console.log just to show all these things, and that's why you can see we have the bottom grid. So you can see 6 product, and then we have 3 pages. You can see that it makes sense. 6 product per page. That means, so if I go back, let's go back here so that I can put everything in perspective so you can see everything. So here, if we go to, so it will default to what? The first page. So this is the first page. So if I scroll, you can see it's refreshing and getting the second page. So that's the idea. So it refreshes and get the second page. So on the second page actually starts from what? From Apple iPhone 13. So if you go up, you'll see where it started. 1 2 1 2 1 2. That's 6. So Apple iPhone 13. That's where the second page will begin. So if I scroll that down, you can see it's refreshing again, and it will get, so it goes to what? The third page. So if I go back to Apple iPhone 6, iPhone 13, you see 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then it goes to the what? To the third page. So the third page, there's only 1 product left. So it has what? 3 pages. So this paginated product section has what? 3 pages. So that's why we have the bottom grid. So we have 6 products per page, and we're in page 1/3. So that's what we are doing here. So we are good to go. So after that, we have all the response. So we're using the combined category response, which we've talked about. So let me just show you again for benefit of that. So this is it. We have the sections, the product, the total, the page, the limit, and has more. So that's what we're doing here. So we have the section, so it's populated section. We have the product, so it's product.map. So we convert it to what's it called, our JavaScript object, plain object. So we have the total, and then we have the page. So the page, as we've explained, we have the limit, and then we have has more. So the has more, so we're using the skip product.length less than what? Total. So that's the logic we're using there, and that everything holds true at that point. So after that, so we now return what? Our JSON, our response. So this response now encompasses all our logic. So this response encompasses, that's why we call it combined category response. So it's including what? Our sections, the section based the sections. So, and the section, we match it into what? To what? The populated section. So we map it to what? Our populated section that we use to get all our category sections. So this is paginated. So you can see, remember, populated sections. So all our sections will be in there. So we map it to our populated section. Then for the product, so we convert it to what? A plain JavaScript object. Then we have our total. Then we have the page. So the page, the limit, and has more. So these are for our paginated product section. So you can see we have the product. So we have the product, we have the total, we have the product, and we have the total. So that's what we're passing. So we have the product, we have the total, and then our page also, and then the limit, and then has more. So all these things are passed. So our page, our limit, and has more. So page and limit will come from the page and limit we declared earlier, and then has more will be skip plus product dot length less than what? Total. So we now we return all these as what? JSON, as our inside our response for the front end, so it can display it. That's why we are displaying all this. So this is the back end logic. So we now go to the front end, where we now render all these directives and instruction coming from the back end. So that way we don't need to touch our front end. Everything happens from the back end. All changes are made from the back end. The front end only, we have configured our front end in a way that it only listens to what's coming from the back end. So that's the idea. So we come up here, you can see we have the page, we have the limit, and then we have the skip. So we are passing it to our has more, and there's our combined category response. So we return the section, we return the product. That's for the paginated product. We get the total, the page, the limit, and has more. So that's what we are returning in the front end. So I think this is good enough. We can continue. So what we go after here, just our usual convention, we have the index. So we pass this to our index. So you can see our category section controller, export all from our category section controller. So it will pass it to our index, and then we can go to our root. So from our root, so we have the category section root. We have the category section root. So inside the category section root, we can, let's minimize this. So we're importing Express from Express, and then we're importing all our controllers. Our controllers from what? From controllers, that's from the index. So export constant router is equal to express.router. So we create create section. So this is the post request. So we have the bulk create upsert category section. Is remember that. So the bulk create. So we use the bulk create here, and then after that we have what we use the get request. So and then it's carrying a parameter category ID. So this is where we use our get category sections that we just explained now. So we're fetching those sections. We fetch sections by category. So after that we have what our paginated product for category. So okay, so we'll not be using this. We'll remove this here. So everything is inside our get category section. So and then we want to update and then we want to delete. So this is the update. Let me just show you around the update and the delete function. So update section, this is the update section, and then this is the delete section. So we'll not be wasting time on that because that's not our focus area currently. So we have the index. So here, so after that we go, after our route we go to our express. So after our route we go to our express. So inside our express, that's our services. So we have our express here. We bring our express, then export everything from our. We need to export everything from our category root. So category root, do not forget, it's very important. So the root index. So we export everything from our category section root here. Yes. So we have to export everything. It's very important. Do not forget that. So we export everything as category section root. So and that's what we will now import. We import in our Express app file. So you can see from our root, you can see category section root. So from there we can now we bring it. We can use the roots here. So app.use category sections. So did you see it? App.use category sections, and then we have our category section root. That's all you need to do, and everything will work fine. So that's the thing. So the next thing we are going to do now is to go to the front end and show you how we render and display all these things dynamically from the front end. So we'll go to the front end now and see how we render this from our back end. So let's go to the front end. So where we left off is our home screen. So let's go to our category screen now. From the screens folder, we'll go to the category screen. So this is the category screen. So we're importing some data from some components as well, and we'll just get started with the whole thing. I will be using section list to render this. Remember, there are so many things going on in our category screen. So the first thing we'll talk about is the header. So we have the header, we have the sections, and then we have the paginated, we have the sticky. So these are the sections. So the limited stock deals, shop by category, top fund deals, best offers, Philly store, all that are the different sections we have for this selected category. And then after that we have the sticky header. So it's another there's another section that we'll discuss. So the sticky header, and then we have the paginated product list, the paginated vertical product list. So basically we are doing 4 to 5 things here. We have the header, we have the section list, we have the header, we have the section list, we have the sticky header, and then we have the paginated vertical product list. So we're doing 4 things. So 4 things in all. So let's get started. So we'll come down here. So we use all these in real time, so I will not waste time explaining now. So we'll come back to them when we need them. So we'll come to our category screen. So remember that we move from category screen when a category is selected, so we redirect toward the category screen. So let's go to that. So what we need to do is go to our home component and get our category grid. Get the category grid component. So this is our home component. So we have the category grid here. We can bring it up from here. So inside it we have our onPress. So if we come here, so you can see handle onPress. So async. So we're passing the category item from our types params, and then so when we navigate, so onPress navigate toward category root. So this root is for the root. This is the root name for the category screen. So we're going to pass handle onPress So if we come here, you see we have handle on press. So we have handle on press. So that's how we got here from our category here. So if you press this, it goes here. So it's using this handle on press. So, and then our category root is from our category root. So it's from our navigation, our root navigation. Let's go to our navigator. So we have root navigation, and you can see we have what category root. That is the root for our category screen. So if you come, you see set our category screen. So you can see our category screen. The name of the root is what category root. So that's it. So it will navigate to the category screen. So I think we're good to go with that. So we can come to our category screen. So on press, it will come to our category screen. So we can get started with it. So, and then it will pass. We are passing the item, the selected item. So we are passing the properties of the selected category. So we'll pass it, and then we can access it from our root. So, and that's why in the root navigation too, you can see in the category root those properties were passed. So once you click on that, once you click on the selected on your desired categories from the home screen, it will store and pass the properties of the selected category, so you can make use of it inside your category screen. So that's what we are doing here. So we have the navigation and the root, so we can access it through our root. So, and then we are root stack screen props, and then you see category root, and then we have so we are bringing this from our root from our context. So our navigation from our context, from use nav, from our context. So we've discussed about that before. So we are bringing it from our context or nav context. So navigation context. So this helps us to navigate from any component in our app. So that's why we are using it. So it's a global context. So you can see we destructure our root.params and then .item because we passed item. If you remember, we passed item. So passed item. So if we come to our component again, let me just show you that. So it's our own component. We have our category grid. So and then we passed it. We passed the item. So that's the idea. And the item equal to category item. So category item in our types. So in our types params. So if we come, we have category item. So you can see. So we have the ID, the name, the slug, image URL, thumbnail, vendor, cat type, parent. So all these properties will be passed with their value, with their corresponding value will be passed, and we can destructure and access it in our root. So that's what's happening here. So that's why we're making use of we're getting root.params.item. So we can destructure that. But right now, all we need is just the ID and the name for consistency. So we can fetch the corresponding data to the selected category. So we come here, we created a use state. We created a use state here called category data. So the use state, we pass the category data. There's an interface, the type interface. So the category data, if we come up here, let's quickly access category data. So this is the category data. So the category data, we are passing in our use state. We want to get the section and the product. And remember, this is consistent with with our backend. So we want to get the section and the product. If I quickly take you back to the backend, so we are sending from our backend. We're sending section, product, page, has more. That's it. So if we come to our backend now, you can see it here in the backend response. So this is it. So in the response, you can see we are sending sections, product, total, page, limit, and has more. So that's what we're sending. So we want to ensure that our front end is consistent with our back end. So we have the category data. So we have the section and we have the product. So the section is of typed category section. So we'll get into that. And the product is of type product, and they're both arrays. So we'll get into that very shortly. So that we'll move one step at a time. So that's why we have our category data. So it's using that type. So we want to store all the sections and the product. So and then we have the initial state. So is sections. So we're getting the section. The initial state of the section is an empty array, and then the product also is an empty array. It's consistent with what our category data passed here. So after that, okay, we'll come back to all these. We won't be talking about this now. So the next thing we want to do is we want to fetch the category data based on the selected category. So we want to fetch the category data that is corresponding to the selected category. So why we are using this fetch category data. So we're using callback here. So this is what we use to fetch the category data. So we're using callback here, and inside our callback we have async, and then we have a page number. So page number is a type of number, and then the default page is 1. So that's what we're doing here. So So after that, so we're using the try catch block. So the try catch block, now we're saying if page is greater than 1, so we set loading more. So and that's why you have you have that refresh when we go down, you see. So you can see, so the refresh we have there, so you can see, so it's load more. So that's what's happening. So that's what's happening there. So we're saying if page number is greater than 1, so set loading more. So if we come to set loading, so you can see loading more. So that's how we used to get our loading. So if we come down there, you see, so let's get the loading. So we'll do it one after the other. So set loading more, let's get the function handle load more. So if the page number is greater than 1, so it will handle load more. So this is the load more handler. So you can see, so we fetch more. So we are getting page fetch category data, and then we are passing that argument. So we're saying the current page plus what plus 1, so to take it to the second page. So that's a load more here. So we'll go back. So if page num is greater than 1, so we're saying set loading more equal to what true. So that's the idea. So we can come here and fetch. So we're just using this console to display data in real time, just how we did in our backend. So console.log fetch category data. So that's the thing. So after that, we come here and then we use a get. We send a get request to fetch what the category data corresponding to the selected category. So what we did here is we're using response. So response await Axios.get. So we're using the get method, and then we pass what the type to it. That's paginated category response. So everything can align with the back end. So after that, we're passing 2 arguments into our get. This is the first one. This is the first one. So we want to pass the API, so the API base URL, and then we're passing the category section, and then we're using the ID that was passed here, the category ID of the selected ID. So we are using this ID. That's what we are sending to the backend. So our API response is from our config in the front end. It's the same with what we have. So if we come to our front end and then config, we can get our index there. So here, so this is the API base URL. So remember, if you are using a Mac computer, so you can just change the IP address 172.20.10.4. You can just use localhost. I think it works that way more when you're using a Mac computer. So that's the thing. So this is the API address. This is the API base URL that we're using. So we got it from there, from our config. This is in the front end. So we'll come down back here. So if we come here again, so we are passing it to our category sections. So we have the category sections in the back end, and we're passing what the ID. So if we come to our back end, you will see that very shortly. So inside our root and inside our Express, so let's get our Express service from services. So you can see we have our category sections. So that's what we're telling it to refer. We're telling it to refer to this root. So it will look for the one that has the name called what category section. So that's it. So that's what we're telling it to use. So that's what it means. So and then inside our controller, inside our route. So we come to our root here. So we can see we have the get request. So fetch section by category. So that's why we're passing the ID. So that's the placeholder. So we're passing the ID here. So that's why it's consistent. So it will go to the Express and make use of the Express with the app.use, the one that has what category sections, and then we are passing what the ID. So it will go and look for the one that has what the root that has what the parameters, the params, or the placeholder, and then it will use what it will change it, and then it will map it to what the ID that was sent. So that's why we need to pass this to, and then pass the ID, and then pass the API base URL. So that's the first argument we're sending. And then the second one is we want to get what for the paginated product. So for the paginated section, we need to pass the params. So we need to pass the page number. So we're passing the default page number, which is equal to 1. So we're making the default equal to 1, and then we want to pass the limit. So we're telling it to use what 6 is the limit. So 6 product. So it means 6 product per page. That's what we're passing here. And remember, it was defined. So that's the idea. So after that, we'll come here, and when we get the response, so we have the response.data.sections, and then we have what the response.data.product. So we're going to go after that. We now use console.log API response received. So let me just show you from our console, so we won't waste time. So if we come back here, So if you come to our terminal here, you can see we have what API response received. So after that, we have console.log total sections. So new sections dot what dot length, and you can see we received what 6 sections. So after that, we have the new sections dot for each. So we want to get all we want to display the sections. So we want to display all the sections that were fetched. So we have the new sections dot we are using the for each method. So section and index. So we're saying console section index +1, and then section title, section title, and then the length. So we come here, so that's why we have what you see we have section 1, so that's section +1. So section 1, the title of the section is what limited stock deal, so you can see, and then it has what 4 items. So that's what we're doing there. So we're just going to the sections, the items, the word length. So it has what 4 items. So first item ID. So we're getting the first item ID there. So this is it. So just to show that this thing is working, and then we're getting value from the back end. So I said if section.items is true and section.items.length is greater than 0, so we should get the first section item what ID. So that's what this is saying. So just get the first section, the ID of the first section item. So that's why we have the ID. This is the ID. So that's the first product there. That's the ID of the product. So section 2, shop by category, and you can see everything is consistent. It has what six items, and you can see. So it has 6 items. All these we've done before. So it has 6 items, and then first item ID. So we have a section 3 top phone deals. So you can see section 4 is best offers, and then section 5 is Philly official store. So you can see everything is consistent. And section C is we have what new arrival. So you can see everything is working out fine. So that's what we're using. So we just console the log everything here, so we can see all the sections. So we don't necessarily need this in our code, just to show that everything is working fine. So you can close that, and then our code works fine. So after that, so that means our response is working fine. So that means our response is working very well. So after that, we can come here now and set the state of our category data. Remember, the state of our category data is an empty array of section and then product. So this is it. So we can set this category data into the response we got. So we can update it and store the data that was retrieved from the back end. So that's why we come here. So for the set category data, what's just happening here now, we're telling it for the sections. So for the section, say we're telling it to if the page number is 1, it means we are fetching the first page of data. So we replace the existing section with the new sections array. Otherwise, we keep the existing sections array. So that's what we're doing. So the second one is if the page for the product we're saying if the page number is 1, it means we are fetching the first page of data. So we replace the existing product with the new product array. Otherwise, we'll concatenate the existing product array with the new product array using the spread operator. So that's what we're doing. So this logic helps us to handle pagination correctly. So it allows the components to handle the pagination correctly. So when fetching the first page, that means when page equal to 1, it replaces the existing data with the new data. Then when fetching subsequent pages, that's when page is greater than 1, it appends the new data to the existing data. So with this implementation, it assumes that the section data does not change across pages, and only the product data is paginated. So what we are simply doing here is we are making sure that as the page number changes or increases, the section remains the same. The section data doesn't change. So that's what we are just doing here. The section data doesn't change. The section data here doesn't change, remains the same. So only the product data changes. So and we're concatenating it. So an example of it is. So this is what we're saying here. So we're saying, for example, this is the initial state. So section is an empty array, product is an empty array. Then fetch page 1. So when you fetch page 1, section remains 1 and 2. Then product is page 1 and 2, product 1 and 2. So section 1 and 2, for example. Then when we fetch page 2, sections remains section 1 and 2, but product will change. So product becomes page 1 and product 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So 3 and 4 will be the product for page 2, whereas section remains the same. So when we fetch page 3, section remains the same, section 1 and section 2, whereas product also increases. So it will be product 1, product 2, product 3, product 4, product 5, product 6. So products 5 and 6 are the product for the third page, whereas product 3 and 4 is the product for the second page, and product 1 and 2 is product for the first page. And if we come back to our app, you see that it's the same logic holds true. So if I go back, let's go back and come back here. Let's come back here. So you see that our section, this is our section, and then our section remains the same. We've not started the pagination. So pagination starts from here. So this is the first page. So it has 6. So if we scroll, you can see. So you can see that the page, we keep adding more. So we have 3 pages there. We have 3 pages here. Just observe the load more icon. So if I scroll down, you can see the load more icon. So we are now in page 2. So if you scroll it down, you can see, and then it has added another product. So for page 3, it only has 1 product. So, and when we go to the third page, and that's the last, so because we've exhausted the product for the selected category. So when we go to page 3 too, you see it combined the product from page 1, page 2, and page 3. So we can scroll back to page 2, and we can scroll back to page 1. And if we scroll down, it's retaining them. So that's the idea. That's what we're doing there. But if you check the whole thing, the section remains the same. The section did not change. So it's only the paginated product section that changes. So that's what we're doing here. So that's what all this is doing. So it keeps the section data the same, whereas it updates what the product data. So that's what we're doing here. So that's what this means. So here set has more. So if it has more, so that's why we have that that has more icon, the refresh icon. So that refresh icon. So got that. So we have the set has more, also response.data.has more. So we're getting from our response. Remember that we're passing has more from the back end. So it has more. So we're passing from the back end. So we're getting it here in the front end. So from our response.data, so has more. If it has more, so it will check after displaying the first 6 products, it will check if there are still more products. So that's what the has more is doing. If there are still more product, then it will set has more to the response to has more. So if it's still true, it will by the time you scroll, it will fetch more products. So, and also we are setting the page. So we're getting the response from the backend to set the page. So that's all for the fetch category data. So, and then if there's an error, we'll throw the error, it will catch the error and throw the error. So, and then finally we have to set load to false when everything is done, and then set loading more to false, and then set refreshing to false. So that's the idea. And then so this is responsive to what is dependent on our ID. So the selected category ID. So that's that. So we can come out of our try and catch block, close our catch block, close final. So that's the idea. So our callback, the dependency is what is ID. It's dependent on what on the ID. So that's what we're doing here. So you see the callback function. So we're good to go. So we're using our use effect to fetch the data, so that when the data upon changes toward our fetch data, so the use effect will rerun only when there's a change to our fetch category data. So it will run, and then it will run this fetch category data function, this fetch category data handler. So it will run it when there's changes to our category data. So after that, we have the debug, the log when category data changes. So we actually don't need this. So we're just using it to get the updated data. So when the fetch category data changes, so we're getting the updated data. So this is not actually relevant. So so here on refresh, so this is it. We set refreshing equal to true, and that's why we have the icon. So we await fetch category data. So that's the idea. So this is for the on refresh, and then has a load more handler. So we've talked about that. So we'll come back to all this. So we want to handle, let's quickly go to, so the next logic we have is the item press handler. So we have, this is the item press handler function. So remember, our category is majorly of 3 types. Each category is majorly of 3 types. It can either be a product, it can either or brand or subcategory. Remember that, it's very important. So our item press must also be consistent with it, because they can be an on-press function for the product, or for the brand, or for the subcategory. So that there won't be mismatch or misalignment. So we have to make it consistent. So hence we have this for our item press. So inside our item press, we are passing a type called category item. So category item, you can see category item is. So let me just show you. See our category item. We'll get there shortly. So category item, you can see is of type product, is brand, and subcategory. These are the three types that we're using for our categories. For our category. So on item press function, this function, what is simply happening is it will check the type of the item using what type guard. So we are using type guards. So the type guards is product, is brand, is subcategory. So those are the type guards that we're using. So it will check the type of the item. So it will check the type of the item, and once it checks the type of the item, it performs different action based on that type. So for example, if the item is a product, it navigates to the product details screen, passing the item as a parameter. So that's what we're just doing here. And if the item is a brand, it logs a message to. So for now, in practice, what we're just going to do is we are supposed to navigate to the brand to the brand screen. So the brand section, it will navigate to that screen, and then we will now pass the brand as a parameter. But I don't want to waste time on that, so we're just going to console.log brand pressed, and then we'll pass the item ID, and then the same thing goes for the subcategory. So for the subcategory, if the type is if the item is a subcategory, it will redirect. But here I'm using console, but it will redirect to the subcategory screen and pass the item, so we can use the item to display our data there. So without wasting time, I'll just take you to where we have this type guard. So this category item is coming from. So we have the category item. So it's coming from our category section types. So you can see the category item. So if we go there inside our types, let's go inside our types, and we have category section types. So this is the category section type. So this is what's happening. I'm just going to take time to explain this, because this is the heart of all of our front end of our category screen renders. This is the heart of it. So what we did first is we created an interface called brand. So export interface brand, and then it has ID, name, image URL, category, description, which is consistent with our schema structure, our data structure for brand, for our backend data structure for the brand section. So it's consistent with it. The same goes for our subcategory. So we create the subcategory interface, and it has ID, name, image URL, category, product count, description is active. So it's also consistent with our backend. And then we have the product. So the interface for product is ID, name, so like that, consistent with what our backend. So the same things, we don't have to go through them one after the other. It's just the same that we had in the backend, so that they can communicate seamlessly. So after that, we have the union type for all possible items. So, and that's why we had that category item. So remember, I said we are using three major types for our item. So it's either the item is either a brand, or subcategory, or product. So these are the three major types, possible types we classified our items. So after that, we have the section. So this is the category item, the brand, the subcategory, and then the product. So it means these three: product. We have a product here, so that's what it's referencing: the product, the subcategory, and then the brand. So there's three there. So that's the thing. So we have the section type. So the section type is export type section type. So we have the section type, our section. So for our section, it can either be brand, subcategories, or product. Remember, so our category item can only be of three types, three possible items. So our category is either product or subcategory, like we have here. So let me enlarge this a little. If we look into our app, so you see that our category is classified into three major items or major sections. So we have the product. So we have the product item, like the limited stock deals is just product. It's just another section or another way of rendering word product. And then we have the subcategory. So show by subcategory, like this context now, there's no brand here. And then all these top phone deals, best offers, Philly official store, new arrivals, all of them are can be classified as product. They are just product campaigns. And then even our paginated vertical list is also a product campaign. We are rendering product directly there. So that's the similarity. So that's the class. We classify them as all product because they are directly relating to product. But subcategory is not directly relating to product. So it's a category of product. So that's why we don't have product when it comes to subcategories. So it's when you now go into the subcategories that you now get the product that are related to that subcategory. The same goes for brand. So that's where we have to distinguish. And everything that happens revolves around these three things. It's either you are displaying product or subcategory subcategory or brand. So that's why we have that category item. Then the section, like when we come to our section, so you can see that we have the limited stock deal section, we have the shop by category section. So you know there are different sections. They can also belong to these three classes. Either it's a brand section, or it's a subcategory section, or it's a product section. So that's why we also created the union type, the type section type, which is a brand, subcategories, and product. So after that, we have the interface typed category section. So just like we have it in our category screen, in our category data, so we see our sections we pass the typed category section, remember. So we pass the typed category section. In our product, we pass the product. So the product is also coming from our category section type. So we are passing this product. So this is the product we passed here. This product, that's what we passed here. And then we passed the type category section, typed category section. So that's what we have here now. So we have the typed category section. So the typed category section, for each section will have its own ID, and then every section belongs to a category, and then every section has its own title, and then we have the section type. So the section type will now come from the type that we have here. So every section can either be brand, or can either be a type of brand, subcategories, or product. So we pass the types with the section type, we pass it to the type, and then we have the layout. So the layout, it could be grid, horizontal, vertical, carousel, or the alignment could be left, center, right. Title color, so each section can have different title colors depending on your logic from the back end. So that's the idea. So it could have dynamic title color. So shop by category could have a different background title color, and then different from limited stock deals. So everything will now, so that it can be dynamic and flexible. So it comes from the back end. So the see all, so you can see, so every section has the property. So, and it's a boolean. So like you see, limited stock deals has it, but a shop by category doesn't have it. So if it's true, it will display. If it is false, it won't have it. So every section belongs to an order. So that's why order 1, order 2, limited stock deals is number 1 on the order, and that's why it's coming up as the first. So we have the is active. So we're only returning those that are active. So, and then we have the template, just the way we have explained during the back end development. So we have the template rule override. So everything is consistent with our back end, and then we have items per role for the grid display. So, and then we have items, so our category item. So that's where the item comes in. So the category items, remember the category items. So it can be either brand, subcategory, or product. So after that we have so this typed category section is what gives the structure. It defines the data structure for each section, so that we can render it in the front end. So it's almost the same with this data structure. It's the same with the data structure we have at the back end. So here we have the category section props. So you can see, so on our item press, we pass the argument. So that's where the argument is coming from. So item is a type of category item. So, and the category item is either brand, subcategory, or product. So when we come to our category section props, so we have the section, we have the item press, and then we have the on see all press. So the on see all press is a type of typed section, because see all is section based. So you can see this is limited stock deal section. So that's why it is following the typed category section. So if see all is true, so it will apply it. On shop by category, there's no see all. You see top phone deals, no see all. Best offers has see all. So that's why it must be typed category section, because it's tied to section. See all is section based. So category section props. So now this is where we come to our type guard. So fixed type guards. So this is the type guards we're using on our item press. So let me just show you everything. So this is the type guard we're using. So this is the function. So we have export. So this checks for property that uniquely identify each type. So the first type guard function that we have here is product. So this function takes a category item as an input and return a type predicate. So the type predicate is item is product. So which means it narrows the type of the item to product if the function returns true. So what we are necessarily doing here is that we want to distinguish between items that are type product, and then we want to distinguish or differentiate between product, subcategories, and brands. So what we are doing here now is, so how do we distinguish between them? Most of the time, products have price field or price property, others don't. Like subcategories won't have a price property, it won't have a price field. The same goes for brands. Brands won't have a price field. So what we're doing here, the function the function will check if the item has a price property and if its value is a number. So, and that's what we're doing here. So we're saying constant has price. So price. So we're using the in operator to check if the item has what? It has what? Price. And the price has a value equal to what? Number. So if it has it, if it's true, that means it is what? Product. So that's what that means, it is product. So we're just using console.log to return the item if it's true. That means it was product. So if it will return what? Has price. So if it has price, that means the item is what? Is product, because subcategories and brands won't have basically won't have what? Product, and won't have price attached to them. Only product has what? Price attached to them. So the next thing, the same thing, we created what? The is subcategory function. It takes what? The category item input. Remember, the category item input is product, brand, and subcategory. So, and then with what? The predicate, which is item, is subcategory. So what we are doing here is say subcategory have what? Product count, or are in subcategories section. They don't have price, unlike product. So that's what we're just doing here. So we're checking. So the criteria is checking the conditions now to determine if the item is subcategories are these: that it has product count. So the item has a product count property. No price. The item does not have price property, unlike product. And then no description. The item does not have a description property, or its value is undefined. That's the thing. So, and then the item has name and image URL property. Additional check to ensure it's what? This is an additional check to ensure it is what? It was subcategory. So that's what we're just doing here. So we are checking. So we're checking for these conditions. So we're just checking for these conditions, and then to ensure that the item is what? Is a subcategory. So that's the idea. I think we're good to go. So after that, we just do the console.log, and then we return what? Is subcategory. So the same thing goes for our brand. So brand have specific structure too. They have name and image URL, but no price, unlike product. They might have description, but not product count. So that's the idea. So brand don't usually have what? Product count, unlike subcategory. So these are the ways we distinguish them. So it has to be consistent. So your data structure must be consistent with these. So this function also checks several conditions to determine if the item is a brand. So has name, the item has a name property. Has image URL, so the item has an image property, image URL property. Then no price, the item does not have a price property, unlike product. And then no product count, the item does not have a product count property, unlike what? Subcategory. So that's the idea. And so this function now combines these conditions using logical operator to determine if the item is what? Is a brand. So that's what is happening here. So this is the logical operator. So is brand item has name and has image URL, has no price, has no product count. So if that is true, then it's what? It's brand, and it will return what? Brand item. I hope this is simple and self-explanatory. So that's why we have it. That's why we're using the category. So let's go back to. So that's why we're using the word the category item. So to determine. So we're using is product. So if it's product, so we will what? We'll navigate to what? Product details route, and then pass the item. So, and then for brand, so that's why we have it, and then it's subcategory. So we can move on. So for the on-see all, remember the on-see all is typed category section, is section based. So when you press the on-see all, so you want to go to what? See all sections, but for now what we're just doing is console.log see all pressed for section, and then we'll console the section title. So that's the see all, that's what we're using it for. So here we want to do handle product press. So when the product is pressed, so we want to handle that product. So this one is product based. So we're not talking about the product in here in our screens. So we're talking about the product. For example, the product inside the limited stock deals. So it's a product. Category is not product. So we have the fund deals. The fund deals is a product, best offers. So we have product here. Anytime when we press any of the product in there, we want to what? We want to navigate to what? Product screen, product details screen, so that we can get the details of the product, and then we are passing the item. So that's why we are using the input is what? We are passing the product input. So coming from also our category section type, so we're passing the product. So we're passing this product, which is also consistent with what? The product from our backend that we render in the front end here. So that's what we're doing. We'll navigate to what? Product details route. So an item, and then we're passing what? The item there. So this is for the filter. So the filter inside our what? Our pagination, our sticky header. So then loading state. So this is our loading state. So the loading state, so we are returning, so this is the UI when it's loading. So if loading and category data dot section dot length equal to 0, so let me just show you. Length is equal to 0, so that means that's the first we just got into when we navigate to the category screen newly. So it will bring up what loading state like we have. Let me show you again. You can see the loading state, that's what we have. So that's what this is working with. So save area view, and then we have background color. So and then we have the status bar. We retain the status bar. We retain the status bar. We retain our header. So we have our category header. So when we navigate to the category screen, you see that the header is there. So that's why you can see the header is there. So and then whereas the activity, we use the activity indicator. So we use the activity indicator to what? Loading category, and then we have loading category. So if I go there again, you can see we have loading category. So that's the idea. So that's what we are using this for. So that's the function. So this is for loading. So after that, we have our section list. So this is where we prepare our section list data. So remember, I told you that we'll be using section list to render what the category screen. So we have the title, category section, and then we have the product section. So there are two sections there that we are using. We have the category section, or so all the section, the limited stock deals, shop by category, to our new arrivals. They are all category sections. They are created sections. And then we have the product section. That's for our paginated product list. So that's what we are doing here. So we have so we are passing the data for that. So it will be category dot what product. So remember, inside our category data, we have product and section. So inside our category data, this is it. So we have section and our product. So we are targeting this product. That's what we target. That's what we target there. So we can close this. So that's why we have category data dot product. So that's what we're rendering here in our product section. So when we come here, so we have what? Render category section. So to render category section, so remember we have what? Category section. So we now have the render logic for what? Our category section. So the render logic for our category section, we can have, so this is our console. This is just console.log. So rendering category section. So category data. So category data dot section let. That's where we're returning from in our console. So here, this is where. So the first we want to check if the section length is greater than if the section length is empty. I want to check if the section length is equal to 0. If it's equal to 0, then that means there's no value, no data was passed. Our category data, our section is empty. So if the length is equal to 0, we want to display this view style, and then we're saying no sections found. So that means the section is empty. There was no data returned for that section from our backend. So else we we use a map function and map through our category data, our sections. So from there, from our section, we will now use the category section. So we have the category section component. So that's what we use to render the appropriate section. So we have all the sections there. The on item press is there, on see all press, and then these are the parameters there. These are the arguments there. So we'll just go to our category section. So we'll come to our component, and then inside our component, let's go to our category component. So to get our category section, so this is inside our component, we have the category section here. So inside the category section here, so you can see we have the brand card, we have the product card, so we have the subcategory card. So this is where we render all the category sections. So using our brand card, our product card, our section header, and our subcategory card. So everything we'll go through everything one after the other.